How about we do some gallery, folks?
Hey, hey, well, while we're doing gallery, you're getting ready to do gallery. Remind folks that have done some turning over the last week of 10 days. JJ is collecting photographs and articles for the next edition of our newsletter, which comes out on next Tuesday or Wednesday. So if you're working in your shop, take a picture of your work and give us some steps. Give us more than just, oh, look what I did and it's finished. Show us what you did and how you do it. Kind of walk through it. Remember, it's your newsletter, your club, and that's what we're all about, sharing information on wood turning. Great wood turning. In a little while, everybody, we're going to talk about level up. But right now, what's that? Gallery? Who's got something to show?
Gallery,
Anybody got
yeah,
anything to show?
we'll do gallery for about 30 minutes here.
Hey, Radcliffe is back.
Is Ron back?
Ron's back. He's back.
Oh, outstanding.
He said, I can borrow a snow shovel.
What a guy. What a guy.
Yeah, heck of a man.
Need a snow blower.
All right, let's go to Brent.
Hey, how y'all doing? I got this here piece. This thing took me a little over a year to build this thing because I'm kind
This thing sticking out must have been hell to
slow.
turn.
It's a chunk of cottonwood with walnut snoots, a whole lot of carving on it.
Wow.
I kind of got the idea from I made a piece when I was working with Trent Bosch. He does these vessel of illusion things where you insert a piece inside a hole by steaming it and such. I kind of got the ideas thinking about doing a piece with multiple inserts. I saw what's his name? The fellow that does this Seg Easy stuff. The really amazing artist from down in Texas, I believe, does these sculpture kind of things, and kind of got the idea from him to do the curves on these pieces and such. So kind of followed that, and then I kind of was seeing how Rebecca DeGroot does her little spider leggy thing. Followed her ideas on how to actually make the bends on all these things and such. So this was a
That is a great mix. Really a great
very
mix.
long process.
Very nice, Brent.
What I like, each one of those pieces in a piff.
I'm sorry.
You have each one of those pieces in a piff. Yeah,
Well,
so
I cut them out in knot holes.
like
Whenever there's like a knot or a
a knot. You have
thing,
beneath a knot.
carved them out. And I
A knot, I meant to say.
got the idea. I kind of wanted to try to make it look like some sort of like Dr. Seuss kind of gourd kind of thing or something. Very organic. Kind of wanted to try to make it layered, look like it was layered like an onion kind of such and whatnot. So
Well, it is certainly funky looking. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good.
It is.
How'd you start the colors off?
the colors, well, as initially it started out with several coats of shellac as a sanding sealer, and then so after that I put alcohol dye in an airbrush, and so just lightly airbrush alcohol dye in there, so the alcohol kind of merges on into the shellac.
Right.
Um,
Hey, Brad, is it hollow?
oh yeah, it's fully hollow and such. So
What kind of wood is that?
it's cottonwood, very very wormy cottonwood.
Brent, that is catalog cover piece.
Well,
Yeah,
it is.
get my idea. Send us a good photograph, bud. We really want it.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that.
Send us a good photograph. We really, really want a good photograph.
I'll send some photographs in. Yeah.
Multiple.
Where was
Yeah,
it hollowed out from? The top? Where was the top and the bottom?
Right here. This was the center right here. So I hollowed from
Alright.
there. So
Yeah, pretty.
Have you
That's
given it a
really
title?
yeah, call it weird.
A real pretty weird.
It just
I
kind
put that in all
of named
caps.
itself. So,
Right.
I think
Yeah, that's-
I think Funkalicious works.
so
Yeah,
Right.
there you go.
That's
Something
that
else.
That's
one.
really pretty.
Thank
It's
you.
really
Thank
pretty.
you. Took me a long time. I got so tired of looking at this thing on my bench. So
I
it
bet.
it was a tough one. So very, very happy to have it done.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
got it.
That's it for
So,
tonight.
are you going to make another? Are you going to make another?
Hell no.
Answer I looked for. Yeah, right? Oh my goodness.
I'll tell you what, it's a beautiful piece.
Well, thank you. Thank you. So
All right.
How
Thanks,
many
Brent.
hours? How many hours in that piece, Brent?
oh, I don't know. The worst part was it was many, many, many hours of hand sanding. I don't know. There's all of these little things, just little teeny pieces of sandpaper, hand sand, all this carving and such. So, and these, I don't know if you can see it. I tried to make these snoots, I call them snoots, look like a modified leaf that were wrapped. So these are kind of like a wrapped vine kind of thing. So all of that was carved and lots and lots and lots of hand sanding and such. So I don't know.
Did
That's
you
really
hollow
pretty.
all the appendages?
I'm sorry.
Those snoots, did you hollow all those?
I
Or
hollowed one of them. The first one I did, I hollowed, and then it got to be then because it's very clunky as when I glue it back together, and I was very concerned about the carving going through the hollowed tube on the carving. I thought that was kind of silly. So after the first one, I left them solid and then just carved out the end
Wait.
on it and such. So there's only one that's actually hollow.
oh, that's
Wow.
beautiful.
Are you going to sell that piece?
Nah.
I was
don't
wondering
see
what
it.
kind of price you would put on a piece like that.
It wouldn't be enough to
Exactly.
compensate for my time. So no, it'll be a dust collector. So,
Nice job.
well,
Yeah,
thank
it
you.
looks great.
So,
Thanks, Brent. Appreciate
Yep.
it.
all righty.
Let's go see what Ruby's got. Hey, Ruby.
Hi, I don't think I showed this at the last meeting, but this is an inspiration for Al, of course. So you have to have some way to hold your paper towel or your toilet paper in the bathroom.
I love it. Al,
Sit
get to
on the
work, Al.
shelf.
I'm cracking up.
So the bottom, and then you just pull this out.
My grandson's gonna love it.
Oh, yeah.
My grandson's gonna love it.
Yeah,
That's
so
an Al
this
project if
one's
ever was one.
this one's just the prototype.
That's
Oh my,
That's too cute.
Really cute. And
that is.
and for the more serious turners, I have this threaded box,
oh my God.
Ooh.
and the top being threaded comes off. But the way it was made was I took a nut
Mm.
and I took this nut, and what I did was I drilled a hole through the center, and then I made this plug for it to fit inside. And then I threaded this little washer so that it would hold the shell in place.
How'd you thread the washer?
Same way I threaded the rest of it by hand.
Bird chasers.
How did you texture the sleeve?
That's the nut, the outside of the nut.
That's the nut itself.
What kind of?
I think it's called a Thika nut.
Oh.
Thika or Uxie?
Thika.
Thika.
Something like Tika.
Yeah.
It's
Somebody will find it
from
and
a
throw it
type
back.
of palm tree anyway.
Wow, it's beautiful.
Interesting.
So just to give you a different idea.
That's different.
That's
Okay,
cool.
that's enough for
Very
me.
All right. Thanks, Ruby.
That's very
Good
nice,
stuff.
Ruby.
Thank you.
All right. Let's go to Mr. Slaughter.
You're
Dale,
gonna make me.
what you got?
You're gonna make me follow that.
Yeah,
Yep.
of course.
Okay. Well, I've got a couple of my box elder natural edge bowls here.
I love it. Folding in there.
Is there any red in it?
Oh, there's a little bit. Mostly
Beautiful.
brown, but there's a little bit of red.
Nice shine.
I see a little pinkish hue in places.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty
I
thin, isn't it?
finished this with probably about 10 layers of OB shine juice and then original Yorkshire grit and then the microfine Yorkshire grit. And then here's this one's a little bit bigger and I think it's got a little bit more color.
Great looking stuff, Dale.
Well, thank you. I had hoped to make them live edge, but the bark just wouldn't stay on. And I couldn't find the big piece that flew off originally. I couldn't find in all the shavings on the floor, so I didn't try to glue it back on. And then I had gotten a burl off of a tree from a law. And this is just a little piece that I'd cut off of that burl that I colored. I started with black, one of Martin's intrinsic colors, and then I sanded the black back and went with ruby. And then
Yeah, it looks like you're froze, Dale.
Yeah, I'm black screen. I thought
His videos froze.
Okay, I'll have to get out and come back in.
All right, Dale. We'll pick you up on the next one. All right, let's go to Dewey.
Hey, how's everybody?
We're doing
Well-
good.
Good, Dewey. How are you?
Great. I started another gorilla.
Oh my.
Oh my.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Wow.
Well, I've got most of it done. Most of the seahorses done. There's still a couple more I got to do, and then I've got to do the pretty ladies down below.
Oh my goodness.
And
Oy vey.
once I get those, these are going to be a real challenge because of the very fine detail that we got to do. Okay,
Mm-mm-mm.
and then once we get those ladies done, then of course we got to do the waves. I still got to decide what I'm going to do up here. I'm open to suggestions. Anybody's got any ideas?
Fish.
Okay. Well, what kind of fish? Dolphin? Maybe dolphin fish?
Put a retro Aquaman on there.
Seashells.
I like the idea of dolphins.
Yeah.
Try extending the seahorse up, the tops of the seahorse up as like seagrass or something, and then have the fish in and out of the seagrass.
Okay.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, that's a wonderful idea.
Yeah,
I'll
it's
see
better than Aquaman.
If I can find a well, I was thinking of Aquaman. I really was, but then I talked myself out of it. I was going to put,
Right.
the god of the oceans there, but I couldn't find a picture or a template well enough on there that I really liked. So anyway,
Yeah.
the idea is a good idea. We'll work on that, okay? But
Yeah.
anyway,
Okay.
Beautiful job.
I'll have this done sometime between now and Christmas.
About Thanksgiving, huh?
But don't rush it, Dewey. Don't rush it.
I'm not promising Thanksgiving, but maybe Christmas, okay? Anyway,
And I noticed you didn't preface next Christmas. You left it open for any Christmas.
That's true. There you go.
Christmas.
Christmas 2030.
but then I'm going to do some coloring on it too to make it kind of look nice. I think what I'll do, I'll just highlight the exoskeleton on these things and leave the wood alone. I don't know. But the lady, we're going to have blondes. We're going to have brunettes. We're going to have redheads. And
Yeah.
all that.
Got to be all inclusive,
Don't forget the gray.
Yeah, we got to have DEI.
Uh-huh.
I like that, Brenda.
You picked up what I was laying down.
That
Mhm.
that looks that
I'll
looks to be about 1/8 of an inch thick. Am I wrong?
This is, no, this is thick. This is pretty thick stuff. This is about, it's almost 1/4 of an inch.
Okay. Okay.
But how is it up on top? That's where it looks thin.
It's thin. It's pretty thin here.
Yeah.
Because I was wanting to pierce this a little bit more than this. And, but,
What kind of wood is that?
It's cherry.
Cherry.
Cherry, yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
I was wanting to get this a little bit thinner. I use a computer program called, I forget the name of it, but it's got a camera and it takes a picture of your cutter, and then you can look at your cutter as you're going through, but it doesn't quite, it's not very, very accurate when it comes to thickness. And when I get down to this thin, I'm always kind of scared to try to finish it up by hand because I'm afraid I'm going to blow it. But anyway, I'll keep you updated on this. I don't know how much work I'm going to be able to do on it.
Dewey, are you piercing it with a dental drill?
Yeah, this is a dental tool. This is a right angle dental tool. What I do, I outline it, but then the negative recess, I use diamond carving bits to sand them out. If I use a carbide, it's too aggressive. So I use diamond, and they're a lot less aggressive, and they leave a lot smoother finish here.
Oh,
Yeah.
excellent. Thank you.
Yeah. So I use like a 120 grit diamond here on this. And then of course I got to come back and do a bunch of detailed sanding on this, and I haven't figured out how I'm going to do that yet, but I got to do that. I've got I took some sandpaper and a leather punch, and I punched some small circles of sandpaper and glued them on a small round bit, and maybe I can get in there to do some sanding. I think I'm just going to have to rely on the diamond bits to do that. So,
do we try double-sided the 3M double-sided tape instead of gluing them? Then when they tear off, then that gives you two things. It gives you a foam surface between the top of the mandrel and the sandpaper, and when they tear off, they're easy to replace.
yeah, that's what I got, and I also use that Turner's tape, the real sticky Turner's tape. It's pretty good, but the problem is the heat. You start sanding those things, and the heat just gets them, and they just fly off. And so you got to go real slow.
Yeah, that's the ticket. Yeah, you're right about that. Yeah, absolutely.
Go real slow, and
but you got to go slow with the diamond burrs too. So yeah.
Well, not so much. As long as you don't burn when you're doing it, that's fine. And the thing about diamond burrs is the coated ones, eventually the diamond wears off of them. You just pitch them. You got to throw them away. And you can get sintered ones that are just pure diamond, but those suckers are expensive. And
yeah, the cheap ones are like $7 for a set of 30 from Harbor Freight or on Amazon.
There's nothing to them, and then you use them for 3 or 4, use them for a couple of hours and throw them away because all the diamonds.
I use mine for years, but okay.
But anyway, that's what I'm going to be working on for the next 7 or 8 months.
All right, sounds good. Sounds like you're in the Brent window. He finished his, and now you're starting.
Anyway, thanks, guys. I'll keep you updated on it.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, sir.
Looks
All
great.
right, let's go to no Band-Aids. Hey, Brenda.
Oh, great. I got to follow that one?
We'll
That's
give
even
you a
worse.
gap between that and Ruby.
Y'all need to stop saying that.
Well, that was just too awesome. It was just too awesome. All right, here's the urn that I've been doing,
Yeah, looks
Yeah.
great.
bottom. I'm not sanded it, but it's turned off. Okay, now
Came out nice, Brenda.
interesting
Very
thing
nice.
this one is the top. Okay. See that little pin
Yeah.
on that? Look at this. Watch this.
There you go.
Look at that.
Oh, cool.
Oh, look at that.
Is that so that whoever you put inside can escape?
No, actually, after we put them in there, we're going to glue it shut.
Looks good, Brenda.
Yeah.
That is, that's
Good
pretty.
job on
Nice
that.
idea.
Good execution.
And the piece looks
Wow.
gorgeous.
That was thanks to Dane. I put that on there and thought, well, how am I gonna? Well, see, the problem was the hole. It's not centered. You see that? So I thought,
Yeah,
well,
I
how am
see
I
it
gonna
now.
fix that? Yeah.
Now I see it.
Every
I couldn't
now and
tell
then
at
it
first.
gets-
Put the cap on there. I'm like, okay, now what am I gonna do with that? How am I gonna, hide that or put
Nobody
that
will
on?
notice that it's not centered. When
That's
you
a
put
great
cap on,
recovery.
it's a done deal. Looks good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
once you glue it shut, nobody will ever know.
exactly.
You got
I
the
like the way
recovery
that it
chief
opens
blessing. You
this
hit it,
way.
Ruby, you got Tim Hatches, the recovery chief. He just gave you
Mm-hmm.
the blessing on it. So, hey, that worked.
It's beautiful, Brenda.
And this one's going to my ex-husband, and he wants a chess piece on top. So he's chosen a knight.
Hey, I know somebody that's got a chest making thing.
Yeah, lucky me, huh? So this is gonna be black, and then it's gonna have a black knight on top of that.
White knight. Very nice.
Yeah. And then this one here, right? We're about finished this one.
Oh, that's nice.
Mhm.
All right. This one you've seen too. And my daughter wants this one, and she wanted a small finial on top. That's the finial she's chose.
I like
This piece. I'm gonna redo this piece so it sits down in there. And it'll have I got my laser fixed. Thanks to Ronnie Burnett.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yay.
10 minutes on the phone with Ronnie Burnett, man, and it works again. So
That
That's
finial
on
looks
there.
like a middle finger.
yeah.
I was looking at the seams. I don't see the seams. You did a nice job.
Oh yeah, they're there.
Yeah.
You know
That's
what?
all right.
After talking about the seams last week, I think my next one, I'm gonna put my next one on the bandsaw, and the seams are gonna be a wave.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, what that? What about that? And this one
Sign
here,
picture.
this one I did I don't know, a year or so ago. Okay. Remember that spider?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Well, I refinished it today from here down because I had lasered Ohio State on it and then painted it and it looked like crap. So this one's been redone today. And the reason I actually brought this in was just to show a different type of top. This one just has a cork.
Right.
So they don't have to
It's nice,
have a,
Brenda. It's some nice work.
no,
Is that a Mountain Dew jug cork?
Yeah.
no, I
Yep.
bought corks a long time ago. So, I mean,
Brenda.
they don't have
Yeah,
to
you
have
got
the
it.
screw on top. So,
Yahoo, Mountain Dew.
yeah, this one's just gonna have a pop fit, cork, and a slider.
Those are
Right.
nice
Very good.
pieces. Those are nice pieces.
That's all I got.
They're really pretty.
Thank you.
Hey, you did good making that pin, the button head.
Yeah, that pen, man, that was the third try.
Was hey, no problem.
Yeah, yeah. So
Work. All right. Thank you, Brenda.
that was thanks to Dane. I was talking to Dane.
Yay.
How am I going to get this thing to stay on there? I put a dowel pin in it, and it just didn't look right. I'm like, how am I going to cover that up? He's like, make the pin and put a cap on it. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, I told her to
There you
take a piece of cherry, turn the pin, and make the head like a cradle bolt.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it turned out pretty good. I
And
like
like
that.
30 minutes later, she sent me a picture back. She goes, "I freaking did it!" And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Holy shit, she did!"
Yeah. Shocked me. Yep.
Yep.
Those are nice
Good.
pieces.
Fits and it
Those are
works
very
and
nice.
everything.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you, Dane.
You're welcome. Anytime.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Let's go to Mr. Rollman. Hey, Roger.
Okay.
I've got a elm. Um, uh,
Natural edge.
yeah, well, it's part of a
Crotch piece.
crotch.
Yeah.
Good.
This is the first crotch I've ever turned, so.
Oh, you did a great job.
What kind of elm is it?
Red elm.
Just red elm? Okay.
Benny.
Come from a tree about 3 miles from here. And as I was turning it, I found like 3 buckshot lead slugs in there.
Oh, wow.
I mean, they're real soft. So. And then somebody wanted a.
Ooh.
I like that.
Ooh.
Ooh, very nice.
Ah, I remember seeing that on Facebook now. Beautiful. Yeah.
That's very, very nice.
It's very big
Wanted
for a
something
yard
deep.
bowl, isn't it?
She wanted something deep so her yarn would stay in it. So
That's
this
pretty.
is off of a tree that was in the yard where I grew up.
Wow. That's cool.
So
Nice.
Did she give you part of the wood then to make something for yourself? Did she give you some of the wood so you can make something for yourself?
no,
Oh.
this wood I went over after we sold the property. They tore the tree down. I mean, they pulled it down and they built a big house there now. I asked if I could have part of the tree, and this is part of what they gave me. So,
That's pretty.
but
I like
it's something different. Like I said, I've never done a yarn bowl before. So
Yeah, it looks
it's
great.
different.
It'll definitely work.
Yep. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
For sure. All right. Let's see. Let's go to the guy that makes light bulbs. He's actually tired of making light bulbs.
Can you make me about
Come on.
100?
For a certain price.
I'm broke.
Right?
Can I charge it?
Let's see. Take you on a spin.
I like those
So-
bulbs.
There you go.
Look at that.
Nice. Like him.
They're beautiful.
Absolutely real.
Fantastic.
All
Wow.
kinds of colors.
That's a lot of light bulbs. Holy moly.
Cost
a
a
big
fortune
tree.
like that.
Yeah.
And that's what,
Are
just
you
the
gonna-
third part you made?
Are you
This
gonna
is the
make a
third
string
batch of
lumber or are you
25, and
connect
3 of them went out in the mail today.
Just
Wow.
in time for Christmas, Dean.
Right? Just in time for Christmas, right?
Yeah.
Staying with that theme. So yeah, they came out well. So I made them out of juniper. And after this iteration, I found that it's best to lay a primer coat of paint down first. So I painted it all white first before I started doing my primary colors, and it really aided in the amount of coats of paint that you had to put on them. And then for my then the threaded in, where the threads are at, those are all gilded, gold gilding. And I got the black on the end, and then I make my own little ring ties out. I strip out 16 gauge wire, and from a typical plug, wrap it around a straight punch and cut it, and then I solder it. That's how I make my little rings. And then for finishing, I hang them on the paper clip. So I got them on the paper clip. I just dip them down into spar Veraphane, dip them down in, and sling the excess off, and then hang them up to dry.
Wow.
One coat, one and done. for the finish. And, you know, the lightness of the cedar really emulates the weight of an actual light bulb, as opposed to, you know, making them out of a heavier, denser wood, mesquites or the eucalyptus that I've done in the past here, or even with the spruce. So I used to make them out of 7-8 years ago. But yeah, they're pretty neat. It seems like a good hit.
I'm still in the pool noodle deal. When I do my
Oh, yeah,
lights, that is
pool
the
noodle
way
is-
to hang them, buddy.
Right? Yeah, the pool noodle is not worth anything, you know, for its actual function. You know, protecting a hard metal surface to protect your shins when you bang into it, or anything like that, or you know, hanging. You know, like I said, you know, 'cause all you got to do is just and it goes right in, no problem, and it's rigid enough to hold stuff like that. So yeah, works good. Works good.
Great job, Dan.
They look
And
so.
then so with
nice.
those, how I got started making these light bulbs about 8 years ago. One of my people back in Southern Ohio that buys stuff from me, they sent me a screen share of Captain Eddie making light bulbs where he had his on the green wire. And so they did a screen share or a screen grab, sent that to me saying, "Hey, can you make this?" And I'm sitting there looking, I'm like, "Holy shit, that's Captain Eddie." I'm like, yeah, of course I can make that. And it's just evolved since then. So
I
that's
think
me.
the most fun I've had with that, Dane, was when we gave a set to my mother-in-law, and she's looking around to see where she can plug him in at. 'Cause I put a phony plug in, but it's a piece of rope.
Yep. So Tina wants me to make, you know, a set that would go on a 15, 16 foot long cord. She wants to do the green wire. She wants me to put on an actual plug just to mess with my daughter when we give it for Christmas present next year. So initially, I'm like wanting to pull my hair out, but there's nothing to grab a hold of. So that's why I started growing my beard out, so I got something to hold on to and yank out when I get these crazy, hey, you know, this is what you need to do next. You know, but it'll be fun, you know, just to mess with her, because she'll be like, how do you plug it in? You know, so obviously I'm going to make a plug where you can't plug it in, but yeah, it'll be fun. So.
And you have a finish on them, Dane, that makes them look like they're glass, like they're supposed to. And that's
Yes,
the beauty of it.
yeah. By doing it that way, it's a heavy coat, but with the spar paraffin, it's a heavy oil, so you sling the excess off, but with kind of like a honey dipper with the threads, you know, with it being beaded, it's still holding on to the finish, so it still gradually drips down.
Yeah,
and so it makes a heavier, a deeper,
like a sheen.
Deeper finish. There's more finish on it, you know, to give it that glass-like effect. And that's the only finish that I've been able to, you know, to wipe on polys, tongue oils. It just doesn't work. You know, I've tried lacquers. It just doesn't give that feel, and they literally feel like they're glass. So, and then with the extra less weight with it being cedar, it totally, I mean, it's like dead on.
And the simplicity of making them, I mean, when you dip it like that, you spin it off and you hang it. If you tried to spray that much lacquer onto a piece like that, the overage of the lacquer is what would be the bother. I mean, you're going to put 10% on a piece, and the other's going to be in your lungs.
Goes everywhere else on the box.
Yeah. Good idea. Great idea.
All right. Thank you all. All right. Let's go to Mr. Dawson. We'll do one more here.
Okay. What I don't understand, and like last week's demo with Dan, when you put that golding on there, I am going to go get it. I'm going to try it. But how it fascinates me how when you put more on it, it gives you more of a detail, and it looks like it's tighter, smaller. I mean, I don't understand. I mean, I know that's how you did that with those threads, and what Dan did last week was like, wow. I mean, I just don't have the grasp.
One of the things one of the things you're doing, Al, is when you put the gilt foil on, the foil is extremely thin. So what you're doing with the brush is you're pushing it onto the glue that's already on the surface. So you push it down. As you push it down, that's when it begins to hug the contours.
Yeah.
Because you have to push it down all the way around.
Here, I'm sure a lot of people saw this all week. I did the turning, I did the hollowing, but I left it up to everybody to help me with the coloring. And I think it came out gorgeous.
It's beautiful.
Yes.
Yes, it did.
Yes, it did. It's beautiful.
Love it.
Yeah, very nice.
I had several people giving me some really good advice. And you're all here, so thank you. It was a joint venture.
Welcome. Yeah, it came out pretty good, Al.
Yeah, I thought so too. The bottom, well, obviously I went in through the bottom to hollow it out. And if you look down inside, there's a little message you can't see. It says hello. It really says, it says hi. It says hi. But
cool.
Wow. Nice piece, Al. Well done.
Yep.
Well, no, really, thank you guys. Like I said, it was a joint venture. So, but you know what? It takes a long time. Especially when it's like 20 degrees out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of like it. When I give the pieces away now, I'm going to have to ask him to do something for me. You know, just sweep the floor or something. You know, my sons. You know. So, anyways, I hope everybody has a good evening. You know, thank you guys, and stay warm.
Thanks, Al. Oh, we are. All right, let's swing back to Captain Eddie.
I'm live and well.
There he is.
Hello.
Live and alive.
Live and well. All right. Folks, we really get a little participation tonight. A lot of information coming in. You're with worldwidewoodturners.org. Now, we're going to recap a couple of things tonight before. In a little while, we're going to talk a little bit seriously about something that people would have never believed could happen. 5 years ago, I had this brainstorm of an idea. It was a kind of a kite that said, hey, why don't we have a club that people can join and not have to play all these dues and those membership and all this other games and just enjoy wood turning. Boom, you're here. Isn't that funny how that worked out? Well, we keep doing things like that. And every 2 weeks, I get to open one of the world's finest wood turning magazines. It's called the Newsletter from Worldwide Woodturners. That's the one I'm talking about. It's one of the world's leading wood turning magazines. Why? Because it's got the work of you, the wood turner. I'm not talking about sneaking down the hallways looking at some weird stuff. I'm looking at good wood turning, some gorgeous art, some work that is taken our members to put together. I mean, a little while ago, you saw Brent's piece. That's awesome. That is so many mixes of work. It's unfunny. It really is. And we get to put that in our newsletter and show it to you. But then we also get some folks that send in demonstrations and how-tos and tips and hints and ideas. And don't just show me a photograph of a piece that's here's a vessel and here's a vessel and here's a vessel. No, let me see how you got there. How did you hold it? How did you turn it? How did you hollow it? Brenda's shown a couple of really nice urns lately. And a couple of weeks ago, she threw a real one at me. It was 2 or 3 pieces she put together. She cheated. Yeah. And she told us she did. She owned up to it. Well, I think a couple of us knew, but that's, you see, but we know, and we can take that kind of mix. And when you sit in front of your lady saying, how do I do this? Guess what, folks? It's all right here. Because just coincidentally, one of the world's finest website masters, Dave Rhodes, happened to say, hey, would you like to have a website? You know, and look, we got a website. We got the greatest website. Really. And everything that happens here is on that website. So let me see. We've got a conglomerate of folks that meet every Wednesday evening, 100 or more every Wednesday evening, live and do this. And then we have a newsletter that's virtually unbelievable. In fact, there are people that'll die to get into that. And if you're a member, you're in it. All you have to do is send us photographs and articles about your work. And then we have a website that covers everything about wood turning that happens anywhere in the world for anybody with no restrictions. If you don't belong to us, you can't be there. If you don't belong to us, you can't go there. We don't have any of those restrictions. This is yours, all right here. So that's what we got. But then we weren't really happy with that. We had a couple of guys come around, they fooling around. You'll know about them, all right? They came to this idea, hey, why don't we all just get together? Yeah, that's right. Why don't we all just get together? Now, if you think getting a whole bunch of wood turners together in one spot is a good idea, it borders on dangerous. It really does. Think about all those brain powers and all those egos and all that ability and all that talent to come into one place at one time. We better have a new sheriff on the block because we're going to need them. We are. We're all getting together. I'm talking about Scott and Dane and the Great Eight. The Great Eight, that is what we call the board members who put the thing together. And remember, all these board members are members. That's all they are, just members of the club. They're not elected, they're not elite. They didn't get in because they had a little money and all this stuff. Well, if you had a little money, you know, we can talk. But all these folks got together and they said, for the good of wood turning, we can do something. So coming up in just about 18 months, we're going to go to Wisconsin and we're going to hold up a project called Level Up. That's right, Level Up. It's a symposium, not a symposium, a gathering, not a gathering, a wood turning event, but not really an event. An exhibition, no, a gallery. Yeah, I don't think they really have a term for what we're going to call this. It's the Level Up. We're going to bring everybody together at one time in one place and do something that I don't know if has been done in this country before. Might have been tried, or somebody might have went down that lane, but we're paving a highway to get there. And say, okay, so here's the deal. And we get 6 lathes, okay? And we set them up and we get a whole bunch of people around and we stand there and watch people turn wood on 6 lathes. And then we do a gallery and somebody thinks they're the moderator. And then we go over here and we do that. And then, you know, folks, that's not what's going to happen up. That's it. We have, I got to get some numbers going now. We have how many lathes?
We got 23 lathes so far.
23 lathes committed.
And we're looking for more.
Yeah, 23. Get this, folks. The big dogs ain't got 23 legs at their consortiums and stuff. 23 lathes. All right. We've got instructors and team members to work with all those 23 lathes. Then we have off-lathe projects. What's an off-lathe project? Well, I physically can't turn anymore. I don't have the brain coordination to do that. Or it's not quite back yet, but we're working on that. So I'm looking at some other projects I can sit down. So I want to get somebody like Matt Harbour. Yeah, like Matt Harbour. Okay. And we're going to sit and take this piece that I turned and I'm going to carve some details into it. And then I'm going to color it. You know, if I said Matt Harbour, I'm going to color it. You know that, all right? So we're going to do that. And then we're going to make it, we're going to perforate it, all right? And then we're going, all right, well, these are all off-lathe projects. You don't need to have a machine to be there. If you've got it from something you've turned before, you can bring it and do it. But those are off-lathe projects. How do you do spot decorating? How do you do burning? There'll be some things, specialty items. How many of you are looking at or thinking about a laser engraver? We're not talking 007. We're talking about something that burns wood and does etching and cutting out. Hey, we got the guy that's going to teach you about it. You want to learn how to make a sled, to do perfect angles, to do perfect segments, and then mix that up? and then put it all together and then turn it out. And then maybe use a tool to do it, maybe not use a tool to do it. You see where we're going? Level Up is that kind of program. It's got something for just about everyone. And that's not a Barnum and Bailey song. That's the truth. We are working very hard to be just that versatile and just that interesting. So we bring in these folks, and I'm talking about we bring them in. We search for people that can come and help us do this. And these are members of your club that are coming in to do it. They're coming in to do these demonstrations, bring in the equipment, the tools. Now, when you sign up, when you pay your fee and you get involved, you're going to get you're going to be invited to a spot on our website that will explain everything to you. That's the bottom line. I mean, where's the else is going to be? It's going to be on our website. And probably JJ's going to recap it. That's in our newsletter. All right. And you'll hear about it here. But you'll get something that says, okay, you're coming to do this thing with the laser. You're going to bring with you 3 sheets of 1/8 inch plywood sheets that are 8 inches by 12 inches. And you can purchase those 3 sheets by Amazon at this number. Or you such and such, such. You see, we're going to hold your hand all the way up to the breaking point, all the way up there. And that is because we don't have the funds and the ability to buy it all ahead of time and sell it to you when we get there. So if you'd like to have it, you bring it with you and we work on it. But if you have tools that you need better talent with or understanding with, can you bring them along? Sure, you can bring along. Can you ask those questions? Yes, you can ask those questions. I've been to symposiums where I've been told, don't bother the man, he's about to do a demo. No, leave him alone. No, that's not what this is. This is hey, what you got? What's going to come up? Oh, by the way, what am I going to do with the wife? That I heard that from more than one member this week. What am I going to do with a wife? Your wife can come along. We got off-leaf projects, we got some other projects. We got things interesting, and we'll develop our ideas for them. And this is the beauty of it. We're not restricted. We can come in and go down and come back and forth and go in and out and come up with things. Last night, the grade 8 met. We're moving around schedules and people and such because now we're talking to them and the guy says, well, I'd like to do this demo, but immediately after I want to do this one because there's like a follow-up or a set or something. And then, oh yeah, but I could take that and link that to one that's across the room. And then somebody else says, okay, wait. What if a guy in the middle of the morning says, I need to know more about hand threading. What can we do? Do you know if we have a member that can teach that and we have an open lathe, that's an available demo. We'll call them pop-ups and we'll do it. And so, what do you, there's no restrictions. There's nobody in the committee that's going to say, we can't do that. It's wrong. Let me tell you what is wrong. We're not there to sell things. We don't do auctions and raffles. We can't break the law in any way at all. We can't violate anybody's copyrights. Why? Because we're the good guys. We don't do that kind of stuff. And we don't need to do that kind of stuff. If you're looking for that, go someplace else. But here, for the benefit of wood turning, we're going to gather in one place at one time, and we're going to ask input, and we're asking for it now. Everything you've heard me talk about, and we got a little input from the grade 8, very little. I didn't ask for it. I'm just running at the hip. But I'm telling you straight away, if you've got something you'd like to throw on the table about this, we have an email address. Right there, an email. It is levelup, LEVELUP, straight away at worldwidewoodturners.org. That's where you send it to. And isn't that the correct address?
Yes, sir.
It's in chat right now.
It's in the chat multiple times.
Level up at worldwidewoodturners.org. And that's where you send your input. Now, if this is a harebrained idea and you think, wow, fine, we need that seat. Because it's not harebrained, folks. It is an opportunity that I don't think I could ever in my life imagine happening without you. Really. I get credit being a founder. I just got lucky. Really. And I got lucky and I found you. And we found each other. You sit here each week and hear us tease and joke about each other. I had somebody contact us one time, said I was very brutal to Carl Jacobson, that they were quitting because I was cruel to Carl. Carl and Robin are my best friends. They misunderstood that we tease and joke about people, and we don't want to be harmful. We're very careful about that. We don't question what you do. In fact, it's rather great for me to see what you do, because as of tonight, I saw 4 or 5 things come on the early gallery that it really makes you wonder. I know Al Dawson is sitting back there right now thinking about Brent's piece that he did earlier. And Al is back there. If you go out right now, he's back there. He has got a piece designed, and he's getting loops, and he's doing these things, and he's got the hoops coming out and all that. Trust me, Al will be back with it. And then Ruby comes up with this little puppy dog that holds toilet paper. That's over the hill. I mean, we lost him. Al's gonna be out there making puppy dogs forever. But those are the kinds of things we do here. We share information on what you're
laughing my butt off.
Look, listen to him. Al's already at it. He's already at it, folks. That's what we do. You do it too. Isn't it wonderful to be able to do that?
Yes, it is.
On Wednesday evenings, you can sit with us, and we're here all the time. You can sit with us and share that information and develop it, and you can question it. And but remember, we have the no but guarantee. If I show you something and you say, I like that, you can't say, I like that but. The but's not allowed. I'm here to show you my work. I don't want you to critique my work. I just want to show it to you. I want to brag. Right. Bragging's bragging. Let it alone. And I love it. And some of you guys say, oh, don't rant about this, don't rant about that. You tell me, folks, you have sat there and went, when you saw a piece being shown. You have. You've seen a piece when you've seen people say, turn it. I want to see more of the grain jump out. Brenda turns a piece and you can see a spider in it. And we got some other members that do that turn wood that has just talks to you. It's like I said, when you walk across the room and you see a beautiful piece and it winks at you from across the room because your finish is great and your detailing is right and the colors are done and the texture and the shading is right, and you go across the room and it catches your eye. That's the work you want. Isn't that what you want? You want to turn work that snap right to it. Say, wow, isn't that gorgeous? And that's what we're working on, folks. Last week, Ruby came on and had a cowboy hat on. And I'm sitting here and watching it, and it was all my restriction. All I could do was not get up and go to my cowboy hat. It's right there. The centerpiece of my gallery is one of the first hats I turned. It's not going anywhere, folks. I'll love it. It's a treasured piece. It's something I made, and it's beautiful. And people look at it and say, how'd you carve that? How you did? You have no idea the process that goes through some of this work. And we share that right here, and we'll share that at Level Up, and more and more and more. So, folks, you see in the introduction tonight of Level Up. Dane, give us some particulars.
Well, some particulars. I know something that a lot of folks are just dying to know about is Eddie, Dane, Scott, G8. How much is it going to cost to attend this event? Most events that you go to for 2 days and a drive out is going to cost you $250 or greater. AEW is like, I don't know what, $350, $450, something like that. We're coming in at $160 for the 17th, 18th, 19th, all turning days, and then you go home on the 20th.
Hit that number one more time. Say that number again.
$160.
That is unreal.
We got to give
Yes,
him a little
ma'am.
cowboy hat and put him out in the parking lot. 160, you know?
Because
And you're gonna get fed
the
supper
way
for
we
that
looked at,
place, Andy.
and yes, and dinner is going to be provided within that meal. Yes,
Whoa,
food.
whoa. We're going to feed Billy Burt on that kind of dollar?
Yep, Billy and Tim. Yep, both of them get to eat.
160 is cheap
Indeed.
at twice the price, I guarantee you.
That's right.
So when we were envisioning this, when Scott and I were talking about this and started polluting, shit, almost 2 years ago now, actually probably over 2 years ago, we look at all the events that take place around the states, you know, for the turning community, and you know, for a lot of folks, you're priced out of being able to go between your lodging and fooding, you know, at least one meal food accommodations. It just becomes cost prohibitive for 80% of the folks that go. You know, the other 20% that go, you know, if you're going to AEW, you're going to SWAT, you run in those circles, y'all see each other, and it's pretty much all the same folks. And we thought, why not figure out a pricing scheme to where we can put on something functional, where a person can come and attend, not break the bank, be able to plan it out long enough to where, you know, the majority of us are on fixed budgets, where we can save a couple dimes, to where we can come to this event and be able to experience a lathe pod turning event where you're working with a coach that is showing you how to do something in multiple sessions. Each project will be repeated twice over the course of the first 2 days. The third turning day is essentially going to be a freestyle day, which is going to allow, you know, using throughput method, Boy Scout method of, you know, the slowest turner will be able to finish up whatever their project is and be able to leave with a satisfying piece in their hands and feeling, you know, some sort of great accomplishment of what they did. We've got a great selection of folks that have stepped up to the plate to volunteer their services to help us out with this. We've got folks coming from Europe that are coming over here to take part in this and to be able to show and demonstrate. We've got Martin Clarkson that's coming. We got Paul Hannaby that's coming. Pretty sure Paul's on tonight. He's got 3 great projects he's going to be doing.
Yep, on here.
You know, oh, okay. Paul, can I feed off of you and just at the macro level explain, you know, topically your 2 pod sessions and your anchor session, what you're going to be doing?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, the 2 pod sessions are going to be, one's going to be sort of use of a spindle gauge and sort of basically looking at refining your techniques and any sort of problems along the lines with a spindle gauge. So hopefully we can help iron those out. A similar one for bowl turning as well. So using a bowl gauge and getting the most out of it and perhaps sort of refining your techniques on that as well. And the other session for the demo, that will be thread chasing and doing a bit of threading, boxes and things like that.
Yes, and he's done some of these type of intensive demos in the past for us, and they've been just simply amazing with the, you know, especially with the threading, especially, you know, showing, you know, the good use, proper use technique of presenting the spindle gouge and spindle turning, and the bowl gouge for bowl turning, you know, to eliminate some of the fallacies that a lot of people get hiccups in and get catches, and then they're like, you know, some folks get discouraged on. So it'll be interesting to see some new techniques presented on that. Billy, I want to go to Billy. I think he's got some additional info he can add topically. Billy, where you at? There you are.
He ran away.
He ran away. There he is.
Okay. So just to run through a quick list of what we have on the map so far. There's going to be an in-grain bowl that you can be part of. You can turn while the coach is turning. And everything I'm going to talk about right now are things that you do at the pod where there's at least 4 lathes. You got 1 lathe set up that the coach is working on, and you got 3 for people to get onto. And each of these sessions will be offered twice, once Thursday and once Friday. So you get a chance to bounce and to maybe do more than one thing. Another thing is a thin-walled footed bowl with an undercut lip. Another one is turning a wide rim for embellishment. It could be a bowl or a platter. Another one is a 2-part vase. Another one is, as Paul just mentioned, this was his bowl turning, effective use of a bowl gouge. Another one he's doing is spindle turning, gouge techniques. Martin Clarkson is going to be doing too, and I'm not sure what he's doing yet. But
letter opener, spatula, and robot, Billy.
Okay, spatula and robot. So you can learn to turn a spatula and a robot with Martin Clarkson. Segmented turning, the stuff like the snowman and whatnot that Roger Woolman's been doing. Christmas ornaments, barrels,
natural edge stuff too.
Yeah, I'm not there yet, Matt.
Yeah.
Barrels, hair sticks, live edge bowl, lidded box techniques, goblet turning. So that's just to name a few of the things that you can take part of on a lathe. Now, off lathe, what we call the standalone or the anchor sessions, there will be turners on a stage or a platform or whatever. Everybody can watch. Matt's going to do spiral finials. Dan Smith is going to do small tool making. Kay Bulger is going to do tame your skew with finials. Paul Hannaby's going to be doing thread chasing. Scott Hampton's going to do his erosion bowl. So those are just a few of the things that you can take part of during this level up event. It's incredible. I mean, really, it's incredible. For off lathe projects so far, we need more, but we've got iridescent painting for you, whether it's on something that you've already turned that you want to embellish, or you just want to do a platter or a plain piece of wood, whatever. You're going to learn how to use iridescent paints. Decorating and embellishing an in-grain box, hand carving, a light burn tutorial, how to create an array around a rim. Again, more segmented turning stuff where you're actually off lathe and you're taking the segments and you're putting them together so that you can turn them later. Pyrography, more small tool making maybe over in the off lathe projects. Dot painting, gilding. That's just to name a few. Again, we need more off lathe projects. So if you want to be a part of that, let us know. And I mean, it's a wide variety of things to take part of and learn how to do that you might not have done before.
It's definitely going to be good.
Dane?
Yes, sir. I much appreciated that. That's a quick rundown of everything. Scott, let's go to you just to briefly talk about some of the anemones and what's close by, what's not close by, and how we will be getting a list of stuff for the +1s out there in the coming months.
That's
You're not
Carl.
Scott.
Looking at Carl, but
At least he's not asleep.
Hello?
How about that one?
There we go.
There'll be a list of campgrounds coming out soon, hotels, restaurants, some other things. I mean, we didn't talk about it yet, but there will be on Saturday, there will be a banquet with a pig roast, which tickets will be purchased separately. Obviously, that's not in the cost of the event. And details will be coming soon. What else am I forgetting, Dane?
Yeah, topically, that's it. We got the primitive campgrounds, you got campgrounds facilities, within,
Oh, yeah.
30 minutes. There's a 10-acre pond there. It's going to be held at the Lions facility, Matt. But again,
Thank you.
it's Wisconsin Rapids.
And there's dry camping allowed at the facility. You won't have any water or electricity, so it's dry camping. But you can use your motorhome there. There'll be places. There's plenty of place to park motorhomes and whatever else. Trying to think what else I wanted to say.
But we don't have to cover everything in one.
We don't have to cover it all.
Right.
We're just putting the package together for you in a quick nutshell here tonight, because what's coming up is we're going to package all this together and put it on the world's greatest website for wood turning. And it's going to cover those things. Where the hotels, what's the location, how do you get there, how do you pay, what do you pay, what do you get, and all this. That is what we're developing. This is the opener. We just told you tonight, we've set the number at 160, and that's going to get you in there. Now, if you then kind of hurt your head a little bit, and this is not a brag on thing, and please don't take it wrong, I would have booked a plane ticket to go up and visit with Ruby or Cade in Canada to watch either one of those two turn for one day. And that would have cost me a lot more than 160. Now, if I get to go do this and see one of those turners turn, and then I can throw in Paul, and then I got Clarkston,
Martin.
and then I've got this, and then I've got that, and I've got Scott, and I've got this. Do you know how much information you could absorb watching those quality of people in one spot with no limits about what we can do and what we can share? No limits, no rules about you can't do that. Why? It'll avoid protocol. We haven't set the protocol. This is the beauty of it. We're getting it all together, and we'll put this entire package. Where's that? How do you get there? How do you, and all that? Remember, we're dealing with people that we're all members, and we all want to make this click. So it's not like someone's going to get lazy and not do that part. We are not experiencing that, folks. We are not. What we're having a problem with right now is we're too exuberant. And yeah, really, that's a problem in some worlds. We're a little bit too exuberant, but we're looking for ideas from you, our membership. We want input from you. What do you want us to show you, or what would you like to see? What are topics, items, on lathe, off lathe, whatever, that we can develop or put into this program to enhance it, to make it bigger and better? We know we got $1 million here. We just want to make it all folded nice, crisp, and clean. So give us the input at Level Up. Send it to levelup@worldwidewoodturners.org. That's the address. And we will use it. We meet, the board meets at least every other week in a whole lot of towns between. And we're all talking and getting ideas and sharing tips and tricks and things. And it all that leads to what you're going to see at Level Up. It leads to an event that's never been tried before and will be great. And remember, folks, this is all because it's you and it's your club. You're the members. And I do believe this whole thing clicked because there's not a buck involved. We don't have to do this to make money. We don't have to do this to keep a company going. We don't have to do this to make anybody famous. We don't have to do this to honor anything. We're doing this for the benefit of wood turning. And honestly, that's where it started from. And it's going to feel so good when we go there. You're going to be there as part of history. And you're going to love it. I mean, just love it. That's what Yeah, it's going to make you work. I mean, really going to make you work. Take your pills, whatever you got to do, but get there. I mean, I got my bags packed over in the corner right there. We're all ready to go.
I agree, Billy. Yeah,
this
it's
will be
it's just,
fantastic.
it's just something else the way it's come together, and with the full on formulation of everything, and like Billy was saying there earlier, when we were trying to figure out, for there's 4 sessions per day, and we got 3 days of solid turning, and how those sessions all filled up so quick with the projects. It's just amazing, so now, now it's just a matter of adding more and more off-lathe stuff to do, and then at the end of the day, when we're done turning, eating chow, campfire, guess what? We get the after hours party.
Oh,
and everybody, it's there, wants to participate, gets to participate, and then the following day, back to turning.
Sandy's all excited.
Hey, you see Sandy? Sandy's dancing already.
Yes, he is.
It's going to be great. So many folks are going to be able to meet and greet each other, and as opposed to just looking at each other in LCD display. So send me an email for any of your ideas. Level up at worldwidewoodturners.org. And we'll start formulating some additional stuff, with any input. And we'll go from there, and more information. We'll try to divulge more as we can, or keep being the cheerleader about it every week. Just looking for some enthusiasm from y'all. So
you're looking at folks, you're looking at history being made, and you're going to be part of it. It's going to be fantastic.
It's never been done. Guarantee it will be emulated.
Hey, Dane, can you give the dates again?
September 17th through to September 20th, Wisconsin Rapids, Wisconsin, at the Lions Complex. Lions Club.
Grand Rapids Lions Club. If you Google it, they have a good website. You can see the facility.
You didn't say the year.
2026.
2026.
All right, so that means that the Grand Rapids Lions Club or the Lions facility is on the east side of the city. Is that's the right place, right?
Yep.
Okay, thanks, Scott.
A big fenced-in compound, totally fenced in with an 8-foot high fence with a gate. So we'll have everything will be secure. People will be secure if they want to camp there. There will be some outdoor facilities available as far as restrooms and things like that. They have a pond for fishing. It's catch and release only, but at least there's something else to do if you feel the urge that you need to do a little fishing.
Scott, can I ask a quick question? What airport do you fly into there?
The closest big airport would be Mosinee, Wisconsin.
Mosinee?
Mosinee.
Okay, Mosinee.
And I'll put a list of regional airports that you can fly into. That's the closest big regional airport, which is a 50-minute drive. It isn't far. Madison would be a big airport. Appleton, Wisconsin's got the airport where the Green Bay Packers fly in and out of. And then obviously Milwaukee. Eau Claire's got a big airport. So
wow.
A little longer drives. Obviously Milwaukee's like 2.5 hours. Madison's an hour and a half. Appleton's roughly an hour. But they all come here. They all verge here by interstate. So that it's pretty cool. The interstate system and 4-way highway system in Wisconsin, in this part of Wisconsin, are all connected together. So it's fast travel from one place to another.
I get a question based on that. Will it be possible to offer, say like Sandy would be flying in, would it be possible for one of us that might already be there to pick her up from the airport?
That's a probability.
Yeah.
I mean,
if it's close enough, if they have Uber, I can Uber in, but I'll definitely be flying because I'll be coming from Washington.
Yeah, they
It's
have
another
Uber
option.
services, and I believe through Central, it's called the Central Wisconsin Airport in Mosinee. I believe they have a taxi service that will commute you to different local communities within a certain mile radius. And I think
Okay.
Rapids falls into that radius.
Cool. We'll find out more
Mosinee-
when we get closer.
Mosinee looks close, like 20 miles or so, 25 miles.
It's about 50 minutes on the interstate.
Oh, I got you. Okay. Okay.
I drive there often.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Got it.
All right. So with that, anybody else have any quick questions or?
Hey, don't forget to bring your wood turning tools with you. This is the pod sessions. You're going to have instructors there showing you how to do things, but you're also going to have lathes you're going to be turning on. So bring your tools with you. Don't expect tools to be there.
Right. When the time comes for the sign up, all the, stuff that's required that, that you would have to bring, at a minimum, you got to bring, X number of tools that, that's specified for the project. Because again, we're starting from ground zero. We don't have an inventory of assets. What we do have right now so far is just, from the various members that have volunteered to supply stuff.
Right.
So it's not a full on shop that it's going to be set up there. It's
The information of what you
begging,
will
borrowing,
need,
and stealing.
the information of what you will need to bring will be listed on that particular session when you go to register for it. So when you go to register, you will know everything that's either going to be provided or that you will need to provide for yourself. Most of the stuff you're going to have to provide for yourself are your own turning tools. That just makes sense. But in some instances, you may need to bring a blank. In some instances, blanks will be provided. It just depends on how everything washes out and what we can scrounge along the way.
Right.
Yeah, we're grassroots in the whole thing. So,
yeah,
and I don't have a problem. If you're taking, we talked about this. Like some of the classes will lend themselves to, I'm turning something in the morning and I'm going to take it to an off lathe class and embellish it in the afternoon or something like that. So there's a lot of that sort of crossover happening too. So I'm literally bringing most of my shop. So I'm bringing carving tools and wood burning tools and so on. So if you for instance, if you want to take a wood burning class and you have the capacity, bring your wood burning tools. If you're going to take a hand carving class or a power carving class, bring your carving tools, or bring a Dremel or something, you know what I mean? Right. So and we'll try to specify as much of that as we can, but we don't have this huge pile. I only have one tool of each, so it's like, bring what you can,
How many students are you thinking per class?
Well,
3 per session.
What's that?
3 per session.
3 per session. Okay.
Four, Billy.
4 per session. Currently, it's 4. Right now, it's built off. Right now, everything is built off of 20 lathes and 50 people showing. So that's another caveat. So if we don't get minimum 50 people signed up, the event will not take place.
We need 50 people to cover the expense of the facility and all the other little expense things that are there.
Yep. And if you're driving in and you can pack in a small lathe with you, bring that.
And there's Airbnbs. So if a bunch of you want to get together and rent an Airbnb together, I mean, they're nice. I've seen some of them. They're nice houses. Even like for Sandy, if somebody's coming through one of the cities and could pick her up on the way through and carpool her up to the event, meet her at the airport or whatever on your way by, coming in from somewhere else, talk amongst yourselves and try to figure out the most economical way for you all to get here. Carpool, meet somewhere, whatever it takes.
There's not a separate fee for each class.
No, it's for the weekend.
The $160 is for the whole event.
Thanks, guys.
That includes like lunch and stuff too, right?
Well,
It just includes dinner.
what about couples? 160 for the wife also.
If she's
Is
going to be taking the classes.
If
No, I
If
mean
they-
she's not. I mean she'll be looking around, but I mean she's
she
not
doesn't-
going to be like.
she won't be
doesn't
taking
make
up a seat.
What's that?
If she's not turning or she's not taking up a seat with an off lathe project, there wouldn't be a fee.
Right.
Other than me,
if
unless she plans, unless the plus one plans on eating chow, then there would be a nominal fee for that. But the plus one,
Yeah, I could.
fee
That's what I was going to question next. Yeah, the mill.
hasn't been deciphered yet. So
It's just something to think about.
So for the ladies that
thought
want to
about.
take off lathe classes, there'll be a set fee for that. If they want to participate in the lathe classes due to insurance, they'll have to pay the $160 because that's the insurance is going to kill us. That's basically how we set the prices, based on the liability insurance that we have to carry to run the event. Does that answer your question, Al?
Yeah. I mean, she's not going to be doing anything like that, but I can understand, definitely for the mills,
right.
of course. But I mean, she's going to be there because I'm going to be there.
Yep. If she just wants to come and walk around and chat with the other ladies or do whatever,
well, that's what she's going to be doing.
It's not going to cost her anything.
Yeah, it's like I said, she's not into it like the rest of us.
Well, you never know.
Only what I show and tell her.
You never know. Let her look at the off-place classes. She might find something she likes, because there's going to be stuff there that's not necessarily wood turning related.
Yeah, of course. You're right. No, hey, it's a year from now. Let's just hope everybody's good and safe.
Yep, for sure. All right. So with that, let's get our quick safety moment, and then let's get on with our demo for the evening. How's that sound?
Sounds good. Hi, everybody. I hope you're trying to stay warm. Earlier today, in the middle of Florida, we had a wind chill of 28 degrees. And that was at 10 o'clock this morning. It's like, okay, I'm staying in for the rest of the day. I know y'all are freezing north and northwest of me, but this is cold for Florida. So anyways, anybody remember what I talked about last week? Here's a hint.
Hair
No, well, hair too.
and clothing. Yep.
Loose clothing.
Loose clothing, especially cuffs.
Hair, long hair.
Yeah, we talked about that and long beards. But anyways, we're going to be talking about cuffs because I got an email from Tom, and he sent me a post from Facebook. Whatever that is. Wood Turn for Beginners group. He saw Dana's post. Now this guy is well written, but it tells you that I'm just not fooling around. A little close for comfort. A cautionary tale. The other night, I put on my favorite old sweatshirt. You probably have something similar. Worn, strained, fits just right. It's an old friend that has accompanied you throughout countless projects. Well, without realizing it, the left cuff on this old friend of mine had gotten so ragged, it was no longer entirely cuffing my wrist. As I wound up the lathe speed for finishing, the end of that tattered cuff caught on the chuck. In an instant, there was what appeared to be an explosion of cotton fibers all around me. I hit the stop button and noticed I was wearing a 3/4 sleeve of my sweatshirt. Thankfully, my old friend sacrificed himself to save my left arm. There was no personal injury, just a heck of a wake-up call. And he said, I thought this would be worth sharing. Yes. So we talked about this last week, and this is just to emphasize it. I was going to talk about something else, but I know it's late in the meeting, so we'll talk. I'll wait till next week to talk about it. So everybody have a great week, and I'll see you next week.
All right. Thanks, Sue.
And
All
thank you.
right. Let's go to Mr. Doug Miller. Hey, Doug.
Howdy.
Got you now.
Gotcha. We're here. You
All right,
ready?
so let me do the quick house cleaning here. So Doug's going to be demonstrating for us this evening. I will be muting everybody. If you have any questions or comments, please keep them till the end of the demo. If you have any questions during the demo, you can add them into the chat, and periodically I can ask those questions to Doug when he's taking a break from turning. Otherwise, with that, I am going to mute everybody, and Doug, you will have to unmute yourself. And I got you.
Okay. Very good. Very good. Well, hello. Just real quick before I forget, this is my show and tell for the night.
There you
Nice
go.
piece of walnut that we did yesterday. Oh, let me put that. Okay. Got to get this so I can spin it because it does. It's got the wow on both sides. It's there. It's just a phenomenal piece of walnut. It's an old log that I've had sitting around for a long time, and it had some checks in it that were pretty severe, but they sealed up really nicely. So I'm happy with that one. I have been seeing here lately some interesting pieces. I've been looking for interesting pieces to kind of emulate. One that I've seen is it's not a big deal. We've all turned them, the little bird's mouth vases, but to turn them with a hollow log, I've seen them before, and they just haven't registered as something that I needed to do. And so I did one the other day, and I am excited about it. That's what I'm going to show you tonight. But that's not even the big deal. Dane's been hollering, we need somebody to do something, a demo with carbides. I happen to be a carbide demonstrator. That's not what I use on the normal. I use them every time I'm in the shop, but I don't use them exclusively. But I can, and so that's what we're going to do tonight. I'm going to use. I think the only tool that I'll use other than my carbides is a parting tool, and so and that's only because I don't have a carbide parting tool yet. Otherwise, I'd use that too. Still going to use my face shield, and I'm sorry, I do have sleeves on tonight. I don't normally. Y'all have seen me. My shop is cold. It's 20 degrees here. No, it's not. It's 16 degrees here. And for whatever reason, the last few days, my basement shop has been like an iceberg in here. And so I've got sleeves on. The house is warm. It's just my basement. But anyway, I'm going to be very careful. I'm going to stay away. Yeah, I just said, Matt, 16 degrees. That's not as cold as some places. I understand that, but I'm cold. And so instead of shivering, I've got sleeves on. I will be careful. I'll pull my sleeves up when I'm going to be anywhere close to the spinning objects. The wood I'm going to start off with, it's a piece of hackberry. Nice little knot there. That knot, I'm going to use that knot, but there's the interesting part. It's hollow all the way through. A little more wood on that end than there is on this end. And so I'll show you how I'm going to put that in the lathe so that we can get the best usage out of it. I'm going to do a couple of things just for my housekeeping. There we go. I am recording this on my unit here, so I can show y'all. I can show y'all different views, but also I can use this later on myself. So, okay, I want to use that knot hole, and it is hollow all the way. It goes all the way to the inside. Stuck a probe in there a while ago. and actually knock some junk out of it. So now I can see through it. But I'm going to use that as my top. I'll make a bird's mouth here around that knot. So I'm going to put it against my drive center, which is a steb center in my chuck. In fact, let me pull that out. I think I've shown that to you all before. That's a
We got
steb
new
center
people
made.
in, so definitely talk about
Yeah,
it.
that's a step center. It's made to go in a chuck. So I don't damage my jaws. I don't damage the step center. That little center point is spring loaded. So it doesn't make a big dimple in the wood. But then it's got these teeth all the way around the outer edge. And it does an excellent job of holding on and gives me some adjustability when I need to. And then I'm going to kind of eyeball the center of this other side. That knot is going toward the headstock, the drive center. I'm just kind of sticking the center of it in there. Then I'm going to bring my live center up, and I'm just going to look at it and try to get it kind of halfway centered. I may have to readjust. The last one I did for practice, I actually did readjust it. I actually had my tenon turned, and I thought, yeah, that's not where I want the top. And so I readjusted, which meant I had to make some minor adjustments. But you can do that. While you're between centers, you can always make adjustments, whether it's a project like this or a bowl or whatever. So I've got that up nice and tight. Bring my my tool rest up. We're going to make sure we're not hitting anything. Oop, that's too close. In fact, with the carbides, need just a little bit of breathing room there anyway. I'm slightly off-center. This side is a little longer than this side. That's because I want to use that natural hole. And so we'll be cutting a little more off of this side to begin with. Make sure everything's good and tight. I've got my speed turned down. Then we can turn it up to see what's a good, comfortable speed to turn at. I'm standing well out of the way. That's got us at 900 there, so we'll start there. I'm going to start off with a bowl gouge, just because it's got a little more heft. Then we're just slowly going to turn, start putting some shape in this, get it round. And let me say too, as I'm getting started here, this is the way I do it. There are probably 3 or 4 or 5 other folks here that do these same pieces that will do it a different way. That's fine. That's cool. I like to do things a little different way sometimes. I like to see people do it a different way than I do it. Just like with a bowl, when you're roughing out a bowl, you end up with a big gap real quick. So we can close in. I'm already turning on both ends of this real nicely. See, I automatically picked up my bowl gouge. I wasn't supposed to do that. Oh, I can't believe somebody didn't yell at me. You're supposed to be using carbides. Carbide. And the reason I need just a little more room with the tool rest with the carbide is because you don't have a lot of room here. So you need to get your tool rest so you have, back far enough so you can get on the flat of the tool. That's the other thing with the step center. When you do get a catch, it just spins. And so you don't really damage anything. It can only go into the wood so far. I've just started using Step Center fairly recently, and I really enjoy using it. Lots of different centers we can use. One of the things we can use for safety is just a dead center. That's a great center to use. I've used that a couple of times and it works extremely well. Again, you get a catch, it just spins. So there's nothing to be worried about. You can learn that skewer. You can learn most any of the tools that you're having trouble in getting grabs on. Just going in from the side here. A hard knot or something right there. I don't know how many times I've tightened that up already, but just checking to see where we're at. We're nice and round on both ends, but I've got quite a bit on both sides, so we're still moving in, but we can start getting some shape here. I'm gonna give it just a little more speed. Up to 1400 now. I'm gonna go ahead and start making my tenon so I know where I'm at. And one of the reasons I wanted to go ahead and use that opening, that knot as my opening, was because this side was thicker anyway. So that's why I want to put my tenon down here.
Hey, Doug, what kind of a carbide is that? Is that a square or radius?
This is let me see if it's still on there. I think it's a 4-inch radius.
Okay. And it's not a negative rate.
No.
Just clearing up a question.
I never have delved into the negative rakes at all. In fact, I just recently got my first actually square cutter of the dead square. I just haven't put it on yet. I will. When I replace this blade, I will go to that dead square. There are some slight advantages. There are some good advantages to the dead square cutters, like being able to get in here and get a good sharp corner. With this, it's a little more difficult because it does have that radius front edge. I've never seen that before. Says I've got low resources, but I think we're okay. I've got a tenon that goes all the way around. I'm going to get my parting tool and just make sure I'm got a good sharp corner in here. Also going to reduce my nub. All right. Let's see about a little more shape here. And all I'm doing is just, I'm holding it left-handed so that I can go around the piece with the cutter. So I'm cutting on a diagonal to begin with. And then as I go down, I can swing my handle around to the right. Get that nice flowing curve, and I can go the other way, holding it right-handed. Cutting a little too much. It, the artistry of these things, of anything that we do, that's always really up to the maker. I think most of us have said that in the past, and I think that's something we need to continue to emphasize. You may see something in design that I don't see, and vice versa. Let's see, let's turn it off and see where we're at. Okay, we still got some bark there. I don't mind some. This side is pretty nice. I kind of like that, but it's because I've got the wood above it. This side over here is it's straight bark. So I think I'm going to go a little further into this piece. Those cuts I'm leading with the corner as I go across, just trying to cut away some wood. I want to get a little more of that gone.
Don't be scared, Doug.
What's that?
I said, don't be scared on it. You got it.
Oh, no, no, no. Yeah, there's no being scared to it. See where we are on the wood, and then we can, or on the side, and then we can. Okay, maybe by the time we round, I've got a, I don't know how well you can see it. I've got a pretty sharp edge there and there. By the time we round those out, I should be into the wood there. Of course, we'll round that out some when with the next tool. Yeah, the last Easy Wood demo I did, the guy said, "Oh, that rougher is great for the outside of the bowl." I said, "Okay." I was finishing up one bowl. I said, "You got time? Wait, watch this next one." I never picked up the round carbide. I did the inside with this one. Okay, we've got fairly well shaped there. But let's get. I'm going to use my small round one. This is not the small cutter, but the small in size. I mean, that's the whole tool. It's not very big. I was when Matthias was with us a couple weeks ago, I was thinking, uh, that's a great shape. I think if that was on my lathe, I know what I would do with it. And about that time, he stopped and looked, and he says, "There's a little hump right here that I want to get rid of." And when he did, every one of us said, "Oh man, it looks so much better." It was just a tiny, tiny change, and we do that. We can see things sometimes in other people's work that we can't see in our own. Quite often, if my wife's around and I'm working on a major piece, I'll have her come look at it. She's not a turner, but she has a good eye for a lot of things. There's still just a little ridge right through there I want to get rid of. But otherwise, see, I've got wood on this side, a little bark there. Got wood on this side with a little bark there. Big hole and another big hole. See what we can do about getting this neck a little smaller. Actually, let's get rid of this ridge first. The carbides, generally, we want to cut on center. Maybe just a hair above center. Really don't want to be below center. We can start getting in trouble if it's below center. Just ducking down behind here and see if I can still just a little bit sharp here. Now, I don't want to push too hard because I've got those two big gaps. If I push too hard, my tool will go right into the middle of it, and then I'm in trouble. That neck still is too big. See if I can get that where you can see it. See, those are shavings. There's a secret to carbides. Some people use them way too long, myself included. When they're not sharp, they don't cut very well. When they're sharp, they will cut. They cut. You do still have grain direction to be concerned about. You can go against the grain, but like really, I need to come this way to be with the grain. Where are we at? Okay, we're starting to get into the hollow up in the neck even. So I think I'm at a place where I'm fairly happy with. I got a little flat spot right there that I want to try to get rid of. Yeah, that got it. It's one of those deals where you have to know where it is and just kind of go for it with a very light touch. Now, this is about the only time I'm going to have to do any kind of sanding, and I'm not going to do a whole lot of sanding. That's not what tonight's all about. Tonight is about showing you that we can do it with carbides. Some folks, there are a lot of folks who only use carbides for various reasons, and that's okay. I never have been one of those people who said you either be a carbide cutter or you're a true wood turner. I've had people say that before. I just don't agree. There's a place for everything. You can do it all. You can do all of your turning with carbides. You can do it all with so-called traditional tools, or you can do a combination. I'm typically a combination kind of person. I use the tool that will get the job done at that moment. Like I said, I'm not trying to get this. I'm trying to get a museum quality sanding job on this one right now. For demo purposes, you guys kind of understand there's a real sanding process, and then there's YouTube sanding for finishing, or demo. Doesn't have to be YouTube. It can be any kind of demo where you do it kind of half to 2/3, and then you go back later, sand it off. That walnut bowl, I finished it on a live yesterday. Used walnut oil on it, and then took it all off about 30 minutes later. And then it's got a real finish on it now. Okay, this is what we got. Nice double hollow. Well, it's not a double hollow yet. That's a single hollow from the side. Want to do one more thing before we switch it around. The good old brass brush. We are going to stick a tool down in here and do a little bit of hollowing, but I'm going to get some of the dirt out of it right now. I don't know what got hold of this branch. It looks like it's probably ants, but all kind of fun stuff got in there and chewed on it. And so it's a bit of a mess. All right. We'll pull that back. We'll get my tailstock off. Actually, I'm going to get my live center out of there first. Any questions so far?
No, you answered the last one, about what rotted out the inside of the branch. It was ants in the ruts. So
Yeah, I think there was probably a dead limb coming out of this that probably was broken off, and looks like ants got in it. Now the question is, you can see that gap. I got lucky, honestly. I was really thinking about a different chuck for that tenon, but that's okay. That one worked. All right. So we're on. It looks good. Let me switch the camera for you. All right. So now this is the top. We flipped it around. Well, I've got the tenon in the chuck, and it looks like it's a perfect, absolutely perfect fit. I want to take a drill, just a 3/8 drill, and drill that center out. This is a tool I've had for years and years, made for drilling a hole in lamps. This is a Hamlet tool, but any drill bit, stick a handle on it, and you can flat do some good work with it. If I get that out of the way, it might do better. Actually, Let's do this. Give myself a little more speed there. Bowl gouge. We're going to come in and just make a nice smooth center for that drill to go into. I could just do it with this. In fact, again, nobody said anything. This is the carbide detail tool. Not the super sharp one. I don't have that one either, unfortunately. And this is a case because it's hitting the bottom unless I go in from the top. If I go in from the top, I'm doing okay. But eventually it starts hitting the bottom. I can turn it up on its edge and make it a negative rake. Actually, I'm low is part of the problem. There we go. And that should cut a whole lot better. Yeah, that lets me get in and do the work that I need to do. That's got an opening now for that drill bit to go into. It doesn't have to be perfect, just anything to get you in to start with. And I've come loose, so let's go ahead and straighten that back up.
Might need to put some masking tape around it. Give us some girth.
If it won't stay there, I will, or switch over to the other chuck. Again, that little round one. Actually, I'm not even going to use that one. I'm going to use a different round one. This is the what Easywood calls the #1 hollower. It's a much smaller cutter, little tiny thing on the tip of there, but it does a tremendous job. Talked with a number of folks about why such a small cutter does such a good job, and the consensus is the size of it, because it is so small, it doesn't have as much friction. And so it just eats through that wood really easily. I'm going straight in at an angle.
Hey, Doug, how fast are you turning?
Right now, we're turning at 1200.
1200.
Carbides like a little more speed. I'm not forcing the tool at all. I'm just letting the tool go at its speed. I'm to the inside of it now, cutting away some of that dead wood that was in there. I'm going to switch you all back to the overhead, partly because there's not a whole lot to see, but you can see the angles that I'm cutting at. One of the things I'm trying to do is keep my arm above the tool handle. So the tool handle's up against my forearm. That way I can make that a lot more solid. It also means I got to lean way over the bed of the lathe. All right, I want to get some of that out of the very bottom. So just like with a scraper, I kind of raise my handle up and go in and then lower my handle. Okay, let's see where we're at. One of the nice things about having the holes is you don't have to have an x-ray machine to see down inside. Okay, and it ejects most of your shavings while you're at it too. My
have a swan
lower
neck?
section, I do have a swan neck. There's something about this wood where the ants have been in it or whatever bug it was. That stuff is hard and it doesn't like the swan neck very good. But this tool will do the job pretty well. The swan neck will work. It's just pull it out and show it to you. This is one of those crazy tools. You won't see another one like it anywhere in the world. The swan neck's not anything unusual. It's the handle. That's a hickory handle. The originator, Craig Jackson, gave me that handle eons ago. It's unlike the handles that they use now. But anyway, I just need to come in here and take out a little more out of the bottom. Work my way around to the sides. First one of these I did, I entirely expected it to explode on me, and it never did. Oh, we're getting there. We're getting there. I'm in the bottom. I've cut a little spot in the bottom now. So I just need to get out. I need to get out in this area out here just a little further. I'm a little too thick still. Oh, we're getting there. Still got this weird, oh, there it is. Okay, let loose. Had a little weird little bridge going across on the inside, but it's gone now. Still need to take a little bit more out. It's nice that those chips and dust and whatnot are self-ejecting instead of having to stop and blow them out. All right, we're doing the right thing here. Got an itch on my nose. You know, somebody asked me one time, I was doing a video or something and I had my headstock still being square like this. I had it turned over this way. They said, why in the world would you do that? This is why. It's a whole lot easier to reach when it's turned around. Okay, we're That's still pretty thick. I'm okay in the bottom, but just it's at bottom end. If I can find the nib and knock that nib out of there. And I find I need to be really careful when I'm coming out of my neck as well. If I'm not paying attention, I tend to hit it with my tool. And I've had some pretty nasty catches like that. I'm sure nobody else ever does that. It's just me.
Yeah, it must be something there in Kentucky. It must be that water you drink.
Must be. Or the Mountain Dew. Ah. Now, am I going to
Hey,
sand the inside of that? No way.
hey, Doug, about how thick are you right now for your wall thicknesses?
Up here we're like do 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 do. There it is. Up here in the neck we're 1/8 of an inch. Down here, halfway down, just over 1/4. The bottom wall, just a little more than that. So I could go a little further. What are we looking at?
No, I'm just
We're
clearing up the
902.
question, that's all.
Yeah, it's not super thin, but it's not super thick either. Now I do have a little thinner neck area right there because of that bark. That's area we never did get to on the outside, but we have cut it on the inside, so it's pretty thin right there. Looky there. That was a worm. It's dried out on the head. I could take a little more out in that bottom area there. In fact, let me show you how that swan neck works. You asked me about it. Got to bring that tool rest back a pretty good distance. Reason being, you want this area in back on the tool rest. You don't want it to be up here. If you do, when you hit in contact with the wood, it wants to pull you down. So a lot of people will go there, and as soon as they get off to this area, it's still a little weak. But if you're here, you're stable. So I've got to watch myself very carefully going in. There we are. Yeah, I'm out of the reach of it already. I can get right under the neck, and you can see where I'm at there. Here we go. That's the other fun part about doing a hollow form like this. You can see where your tool is a lot of the times. Let's see where we are. Yeah, we got a little bit more of that, which is good. That's what we're after. See if we can get just a little more. I want to bring my tool rest back up here close. Again with the number 1 hollower, which is the straight hollower. it's interesting to me. The Easy Wood people and their engineers have said maximum overhang, and they put a line right there. Easy to see. But then they will tell you you can go all the way back. The only issue is you really got to be on top of that arm or that handle so that it doesn't try to jump out. Oh, that's much, much better. Much, much better. All right. Let me hit that one more time. Turn my speed back down to 500. And Dane, I think you mentioned last week putting something behind your sandpaper.
Yes, sir.
I've been using the Scotch-Brite all week, and it does make a difference. It does make a difference. Something like this, where you get that big gap, get that face shield up. Yeah, where those gaps are, instead of my fingers being beat up, it just makes a good bit of difference.
Yeah, it don't take a lot.
Yeah, no, it's just that, and I doubled that Webrax
Scotch-Brite.
or Scotch-Brite or whatever, NiWeb. It depends on who you buy it from as to what it's called. But yeah, Scotch-Brite pad for all intents and purposes. And doubled up, and it gives me a much more solid sanding base when I'm sanding by hand. And personally, I kind of like to sand by hand. There's something about it. That last little bit of my hands touching the wood, that and the finishing process, being able to do that by hand as well. Now, and here's another issue. When I ordered my sandpaper, this last batch, they did not have my second grit of sandpaper in the hook and loop back. And so this is just what they call a shop roll, and it's just plain. It's a material backing. I don't think it even holds up as well as the other does. So I'm hoping that they were just out. When I get down close to the end of this roll, I'll be calling these people and say, hey, have you got this stuff? And if you don't, how about it? See what they say. All right. 2 grits down. And honestly, folks, I only sand with 4 grits. Somebody said, you must sand with about 7 or 8 grits at least. No, 4 at the most. Sometimes it's 3. If it's a piece of wood that has cooperated, and I've done a decent job of tool control, I can start at 120, sometimes even 180. All right, last grit. Right here that's my dust collection that I usually have on. It doesn't come across through the videos so bad that I can't turn it on, but I can't hear. So when I'm doing demo, I don't typically use it, but when I'm by myself, it's definitely on. Even sometimes when I'm turning, if it's a dusty wood, I'll turn it on and put a little hearing protection in and just go at it. All right, and then just for fun, Just like with everything else, I don't hold that. I don't wrap that around my fingers at all. It should not. It should just tear up like that. But just in case, I don't let it wrap around my fingers ever. I don't even let paper towel get wrapped around my fingers. I just worry about that too much. I've had too many close calls, so I quit worrying about it when I quit doing it. And then, just for the sake of argument, come on, stand up there. Put just a little bit of walnut oil on it. Some of y'all may have seen the same thing I did on Facebook. Somebody had asked a maker about what finish they use. I only use walnut oil. I put that on everything. Somebody came on and said, "Oh, but you got to be so careful with allergies." The guy says, "Nope, I've got walnut allergies. In fact, I'm allergic to every nut there is. And I've used walnut oils for the last 10 or 15 years. Killed that one. Killed that argument. Thought it was quite interesting. So I'll do a little more with that. I'll get a brush and in fact, I can do some where I've been working on something else. Just a little acid brush. Make sure I get it in the bark really good. On the inside. And all those cracks and crevices around that rotted out, eaten out opening is kind of important to get all that. It'll show up as a dry spot if you don't. And somebody say, "Oh, you missed a spot." Yeah, you did. Wasn't too long ago, someone asked about finishing, and I was telling them, they asked me about my finishing, and I was telling them, they said, that sounds like finishing is really an art in itself, and it really is. And to know much about very many finishes is tough to keep up with. Those things do change over time. Some things are universal and they stay the same no matter. Like shellac is a universal cover. It's also a universal undercoat. You can put shellac on top of anything. You put anything over shellac. You can't necessarily do that with varnish. Oils. Some things won't go over oils at all. Another paper towel here. Just wipe off some of the excess. Come through here and get some of the inside. So, that out of my way, get that out of my way. Handy dandy chuck key. Change cameras. Come on. There we are. Now, there you have one bird's mouth hollow form. It's a double hollow form.
That is pretty.
Very good.
So they
from a
come out
rotted
pretty
oil.
nice.
Awesome.
Nice work, Doug.
Thank you.
Excellent.
They come out.
Excellent.
Very nice, Doug.
I almost had like
Good
3
job,
heart
Doug.
attacks.
These come out really nice. Typically, if you just take your time with them, don't feel like you have to get it perfect the first time. Go back, and how many times did I go back on that neck because I just wasn't happy with it. And I finally got it where it's a pretty nice curve. I've got that system thing right in the middle of my screen. I can't see.
Hey,
Come
your
on.
shape is really good on that one.
Thank you. There you go. Now I can see. Yeah, I went back 3 or 4 times to get that neck, and then there was this ridge that was here in the center or on the shoulder that I had to get out. I still think it's a little high right there, but I've still got a tenon. I can go back and fix it. And when I take the tenon off, here's what I'll do. I've got this piece that I've used for a long time. I'll put that in my chuck. I've got a marking on it, 2 markings actually. You see those 2 black marks, and those go on either side of jaw number 1 of this particular chuck. And then that will go, I'll actually turn this down so this goes all the way to the bottom. Then I'll pinch it. I'll still got my mark here from my live center. So I'll pinch that I'll pinch it like that, live center on this end, and this thing on the front. I've turned it down just a little bit so it'll actually go in there. But then once I do, I can turn this down, actually turn it completely off. I'll get it close, do my sanding, and then take my spindle gouge and just cut right through the nib. So then I'll have it. Then all I got to do is a little hand sanding on the very bottom, put a little finish on it, and we're done.
Cool.
So, any other questions or
Very good.
thoughts?
What was the name of the wood again?
Hackberry.
Hackberry.
Hackberry. This is one of Matt's favorite woods.
That actually looks like my hackberry too. Well, a lot of the ones that other people turn called hackberry don't. So nicely done, Doug.
Yeah, I mean, you can see there's the little specks that hackberry loves to have throughout the grain. That part's a little unusual. Out of, what was that, 20 feet, 25 feet of branch that fell out of a tree, I had 4 pieces that had some hollow in it. That's one of them. There it is. This was my practice piece that I turned yesterday just for fun. Oh, wow. See, now I did the same thing.
Very nice.
To do the bottom, it was the same thing. In fact, I turned this down so it would fit inside of there.
Sure.
I did the same thing. I did the Phil Anderson method of taking the bottoms off. And that's what I'll do with this one. So I'll pinch it between that drive, just a dummy drive, and the tailstock, spin it at about 500, 600, and I'll whittle this down. I'll go real slow with the tenon and the nub there, just enough where I can get a slight concave bottom on it, sand it, and then I can shave that off with the spindle gouge while it's running.
It might look good if you made a bead and left that on as a foot and then undercut it just a little bit.
Yeah, this will stay. The tenon will go, but this one will stay.
Okay, good.
I would leave the tenon as the foot, like Ruby was saying. I like the way that looks, but it's up to you. I mean, you're the artist, so absolutely.
You're suggesting curve this out off and leave the tenon.
I like the bead and I like the tenon as the foot, and then undercut where you're holding it.
I got you. Yeah.
But like I say, it's up to you. It's your piece. So
yeah, and that's one of how many, couple hundred options.
Right.
I can make it a round bottom. That's always
I got a suggestion for you, Doug. I use a very similar post like you do for holding the insides of pieces. I glued a little bit of that thin Walmart foam to the top of mine, so it holds it with the top. But that's just just an addition.
You could do the Walmart craft foam, or you could do
yeah. That's exactly what I don't use the the shelf paper, I use the craft foam because I have,
Yeah.
you spend $5 and you get like 40 sheets or something. I have a ton of that
Oh,
stuff
exactly.
still.
Oh, golly. The magic cabinet. There's a pack right there that's never been opened.
There you go.
I've got another one, and then I've got another 4 or 5 sheets sitting there from the last pack that I did open. So it just goes on and on. It lasts forever. I think it was on sale that I bought them for like $1.50 or $2 a piece, a pack,
Wow.
and they just kind of go on and on and on. I bought it to
1001
use with my vacuum chuck.
Yeah, I'm still using it with the vacuum chuck.
Yeah, yeah.
That's,
every once in a while,
that's
All right.
beautiful, Doug. The
Does anybody
piece
else
is
have any
beautiful.
questions or comments for Doug?
No, except you almost gave me about 3 heart attacks.
Shouldn't.
It's
That's
not that bad.
this would be an easy job with bowl gouge, spindle gouge, all of those things that we typically use. You saw how easy it was with the carbides. Very simple, very simple. It's a simple turning. The finished product, people say, huh? How in the world? But no, well, I'm trying to get it so you can see no, it's just too dark. Trying to get it so you can almost see the bottom. See, I actually turned the bottom inside. I got all of that, and I got the wall out to, it's about 1/4 of an inch at this point. This bottom corner here, it's about 1/4 of an inch. But got the bottom fairly smooth because I did cut it with a round cutter. There you go. You can see it.
Yeah.
Sure can. That was very
That is
enjoyable,
nice.
Doug. It really was. Very
Doug,
enjoyable.
I have one question for you, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Where else in this world can you get a demo like that free in your living room on a Wednesday evening? Where else?
Yeah.
Where else in this entire world can you get that?
Here in
Except
YouTube.
right here
that's it.
because of you folks. That's it. Because
Yeah.
of
Right.
people like Doug.
Now,
That was
Come up
very
and do it.
enjoyable.
Oh, that was awesome.
there
Awesome. And the whole
there is
time,
you.
I'm with you, Al. I was the whole time I'm going.
Yep.
Put the shield up.
All the time I was trying to think, how can I make my own hollowed out piece of log? You know?
Hey,
without the ants.
I got your answer. If
Yeah.
you have your log like that, you take a Forstner bit and drill right through it.
Right.
There you go. There's your hole.
But then it would be round. So
Yeah.
then, see, I was thinking about going one size smaller and then go with a chisel and make it rough all the
There
way
you go.
around.
You could do that too. If you've got an anthill,
Al, what you can do is drill it out and then start a fire inside of it.
There
There
you
you
go.
go.
Yeah, you're right. There you go.
that's a good answer. If you got an anthill, if you happen to live in Florida, there's plenty of anthills. You drill it, lay it on top of the anthill. It won't take long.
No, but Al, he opened the door. You see, Al, now you got your foot in the door, Al. You can, and that's what we do here. With the foot in the door, I can see a whole handful of you folks going, "Oh, I've got this, and I can take this and that." And you know that junk piece of wood. What's that term, junk piece of wood? That's a bad term to use. But you can get out there and experiment and play with it. What we saw tonight was wonderful. You got to see a demonstration that you probably wouldn't ever be able to book into someplace. Nobody's going to plan and plot and advertise. How do you advertise that? How do you sell such a demonstration with the tools and the technique and everything else? And it was down to earth, bona fide, done. You were watching, no cuts, no jumps, no blips, no oops, let me pull another piece out and do this stuff. You saw the world happen in front of you. And thank you, Doug. That was fantastic, folks.
That was
So welcome.
that was
So welcome.
A round of applause.
Really enjoyable.
Awesome work.
Thank you.
Really enjoyable.
And that's only a leader because we got some more gallery and a whole lot of things. And folks, earlier this evening, we spoke briefly about Level Up. Level Up is coming in September of 2026. And we have announced the details on it tonight. And we're just getting our foot out and introducing you. The entry fee has been announced, and we're making plans, and we're getting things together. Getting things together is that we're paving the road to form the smoothest route possible to a gathering of the world's finest woodturners. You see, we can advertise it that way because that would be the honest truth. The world's finest woodturners, you are going to gather and have fun, a good time, and hopefully not break a lot of laws. But we're all going to be friends and get together. And that's we introduce you to tonight. Oh, look, you saw some great artwork. You're going to see some more photographs. JJ is collecting photographs for the world's greatest newsletter on wood turning. It comes out, and the next issue is due next Wednesday night. And it'll be out on our website. All the old ones are on our website. If you missed them, get a copy, print them off, give them to your friends, share them with friends you know. And with a format we have them, you can grab it and drop it anywhere. That's right. We're not restrictive. We want the word to get out. And it's all on the world's greatest website, thanks to Dave Rhodes. So we have all that gone for you. And we have gallery. And that's when we want to see what you've turned. And this is not a critique. And we never critique. I want to see what you came up with. And boy, sometimes you come up with some real doozies. And we all have those things we go, oh, I wonder what that was. How he did that. How did he hold that? Well, Doug Miller just did it a minute ago. How did he hold that? How would he turn it? There's too much air, not enough wood. I know that's what Al was saying just now. Ron, there's not enough wood there. I mean, you got done in this. There's all these holes and stuff. And that's the best part. How do you hold it? How do you turn it? How do you plan for it? And he did a lot of it with carbide. Now, Doug says he does things with carbide for demonstrations and such, but that's not his strong point. If he went to dancing with sharpened tools, shop tools, he'd dance just like that and probably really whip up some nice art. But you see, we want to be versatile. We show you all the verges, all the ways to do about it. Is somebody got a list of who's available for gallery tonight? One of our co-hosts? Any of the co-hosts? Is this thing turned on?
Yeah, Scott's supposed to be doing it.
Yeah, but it's, who's got it?
I'm here.
You got some gallery, Scott?
I don't have any, but
okay. Well,
yes, I got one.
Who is it? Who's
where are we
saying it?
popping to? We're going to go look at
Billy Burt.
We're going to Billy Burt.
it. That looks like Tom.
Hold on a minute. Yeah, so Billy Burt's next up, but let me resend this list here. Scott.
Missed it, Dane. Sorry.
Okay. I was asked or commissioned to do another cigar ashtray. So I did this one out of Spalted Hackberry.
Beautiful.
Instead of using the Corian in the middle, he wanted his initial engraved in it. And so
on a mirror.
Rather to protect the wood, rather than engraving the initial in the wood, I found some little 3-inch mirrors on Amazon and I engraved the back side of the mirror. I had to flip his initial backwards, but I engraved the back side of the mirror and it gave it you get kind of a 3D look to it. And it looks pretty cool. I made these just a little bigger than I did the last ones, just to make sure that it holds the cigar. And I got just a little bit thin. I engraved the back and then realized with the recess for the mirror.
Oh,
thank you. And so just to make sure to reinforce it a little more, I epoxied my 2-inch coin to the back. So,
smart.
But
nice save. You froze up.
Yeah.
And a couple of little bug holes, but I like it.
Me too.
Beautiful.
Thank you. That's what I got. Oh, one more thing. I've been out of the shop for about 4 weeks, and we talk about all the time how important practice is. And believe it or not, I like to consider myself, now I'm no Steve Jones, but I like to consider myself relatively proficient with a skew. And I was working on a birdhouse ornament today, and if you'd have been watching me, you'd have thought that I was just learning how to use a skew. I got at least 4.
Oh,
So yeah, practice is very important.
Yeah.
You don't lose those skills if
You keep freezing in and out, Billy.
oh, well, yes, my internet's been funky tonight.
Yeah, I had that last night and most of the day today.
I think we got the gist of what you were saying. If you don't use it, you're gonna lose it. So keep those skills up to par.
Yeah, well, it's not you don't lose them, but you're not as sharp as you once were.
Yeah.
You know, Mark Soleil preaches a practice piece every time you step into the shop. He's got all them scrap pieces that he works all his coves.
Yep. There's a lot to be said for that.
Yep. It's a good deal.
Thank you, everybody.
I do the same. I mean, I make a snowman or I make a goblet or something just to warm up.
Is Dave Kingery, are you done, Billy?
I'm done.
Is Dave Kingery still here?
No, I don't see him or El Guapo.
Or El Guapo? Okay, then the next one would be Tom Kenny. I know he's still here. I just seen him.
Yep, still here. We
Oh,
had
it was me, by the way.
we had Jim and Rita Duxbury in the area, and Jim did a demo on his Dux chuck off-center turning, and then Rita did a segment on embellishing. So I gave it a try, and I didn't use the Dux chuck. I had 2 different size jaws, and I did a outer tenon for the 75 millimeter jaws, and then the smaller ones I think were 40. So I was able to get my offset, turn the bowl, and did the use a micromotor to do the texturing and then dot painting, and it came out good enough to where I'm going to try a real one. This was just a practice piece. Someone at our wood turning club brought in a scrap of wood to be raffled off. And unfortunately, when he glued it up, he glued it so that the grain was face to face, which made it a little challenging turning. But I think I've got enough depth to make the bottom of the bowl right at that seam and get rid of the seam. But overall, it was an interesting project.
Looks good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very
Thanks
nice.
much.
Let's see here. Looks like Scott's gone too. Different Scott. And then after that, it's Leonard. I know he's here. I just seen his picture a minute ago.
Oh, wait.
James is back.
Hey there.
oh, y'all looking for me?
Yeah.
Yep,
Okay.
we'll go to James next.
Okay.
I'm looking for the other one. Is he up?
Yeah, I'm here.
He was.
There we go.
Okay. This is what I turned today. It's an oak, spalted oak bowl.
Very nice.
This
Very
is the,
nice.
I had questions on the website for it was sanding sealer. So I'll put 2 coats of sanding sealer and then just sprayed a light coat of lacquer on it, gloss lacquer, just to make it shine a little bit and pop out some of the colors.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's pretty. Very
That's
pretty.
some beautiful
Very nice.
spalting.
It is. It really, I was real surprised once I got all the bark off.
Yeah, beautiful piece.
Thank you. But that's all I've got tonight.
Okay,
Thank you.
and Sandy's next. There she
Oh,
is.
let me okay. Oh, I'm unmuted. Hi, everybody. I have a couple of pieces. I know I haven't been very active, but I am here. This is a piece of maple that I had on my shelf for a long time down here, and it got very dry. When I was turning it, I got all these crazy checks on all the way through. I was getting cracks all the way through. I didn't know what was going on. Anyway, long story short, how do I save this piece? That's mostly what we do. So I turn the bowl. It's about eight inches wide, somewhere in there, and probably, I don't know, 2.5, 3 inches high in height. But anyway, the way I saved it was I started drawing over top of the cracks. And so I drew a long time. And then Matt was talking about his dot painting. So I decided I'd put some dots on it, Matt, following you. And and then I decided it didn't have enough depth. So then I went back and wood burned around it. I spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to make this look okay. And then I came back and did some just water over top of the paint to kind of make it a little bit blurry. So there's probably at least 12 different little cracks throughout this part right here. Then I turned to the other side and I thought, oh, you got to be kidding. And they were over there as well. So 3 more flowers, followed a lot of Matt's stuff that he's given us over time. And then on the inside, those 3 little ones that were on the back went all the way through. I thought, geez Louise, I'm going to be painting this until I'm 100. So one more flower. And the same process, I drew the flower. This time I was smart enough to burn it first, which is tricky. You know, nobody talks about how hard it is to burn on a curve. That's really kind of tricky. So put that in your next demo, Matt. How do you get on the inside? You know?
Yes, ma'am. Leave room for your hands to get in there. I don't know.
I know, that was the thing. And I was like upside down, my elbow in the air. I thought somebody ought to do a video of me. But anyway, so eventually it got done and I put my logo on it, and I didn't want to lose the piece because it had the figure in this piece of wood was crazy good. Yeah. So as you can see, and so I thought, I got to save this wood.
That is beautiful.
Yeah.
So
So anyway,
wonderful job.
It's a beautiful piece,
Wonderful,
Sandy.
wonderful
Yeah.
job, and the embellishing is awesome.
Yeah,
Nicely done.
but it was all thanks to you, Matt. I'm trying to. There are dots, lines, water, color.
Oh, I see. That's great. Outstanding.
I was doing everything.
If you don't like it, Sandy, I'll give you my address. You can
No, I like it. It just I'm growing old, just trying to cover up these cracks. But anyway, my logo came out good. I painted him, so I thought, well, I got the paint out. I might as well paint him as well. So
Hey,
That's
Sandy,
beautiful.
explain again. Okay, so you're flowering there. Those were all the dots, the way Matt had his demo.
Yeah,
a couple months ago.
Yeah, well, yes and no. I started with drawing the flowers and they were just kind of sitting there and you could still see the cracks. So I thought, oh, I got to do something else. So then I took and I hadn't burned it. So I burned it and I thought, no, still doesn't have the right thing. So then I did Matt's dots and I thought, well, that's pretty good. I like that. And then I thought, well, what can I do for the center? So I started doing the centers on the flowers, but the dots didn't look so good. So then I had to do some more burning and come back with water and sort of smear them all together. So it's got a combination of everything in here, but you can't see the cracks. I guarantee you. You can feel them, but you don't see them.
No, it's very pretty. It's very pretty.
Yeah. It looks. Anyway.
Yeah, it's a good looking piece.
This one took a long time, so I might have to keep this one. I don't know. The kids usually come in.
Might take you to 100. Might take you to 100.
It may be. And then my other one, I don't know if I'm sure you all have heard of Sally Ott, and she's one of the gals that I admire a lot. She came to town and I got to take a class from her, which was good. And she was teaching lidded bowls. And they were different than most things I saw. We've all seen lidded bowls and we've mostly all done them. But she does them where she goes to Hobby Lobby. She was all about Hobby Lobby. Well, she was doing Dirty Pour. And so I did a couple of those, but I did those and they're not here right now, so I can't show them. But then she came back with a plain one, but she goes to Hobby Lobby and she buys drawer pools. So she doesn't make her own. We've all done that too, I'm sure, finials and knobs and stuff like that. But she buys these in all these crazy designs. So I trekked off the Hobby Lobby and bought a dragonfly because that's my logo I typically put on the bottom of my work. And so then I got my little bowl, and it's about
That's a great
Beautiful.
idea.
yeah.
I got a bag full of drawer. I had a bag full of drawer pulls that I picked up at a garage sale last summer, sitting on one of my
Yeah.
shelves. So, yeah.
Well,
Awesome.
you should use them because I almost had to get a job again. I spent so much money there. I was having. I thought, geez, at 76, I'm going back to work. I got a butterfly. And this is the best one. One of the best ones. I got this guy who is a dive helmet, and my 11-year-old grandson just was certified as a diver. So I found this one and I thought, okay,
Nice.
but it won't fit on this. The screw comes out this way, so it's not going to work as a drawer, as a handle. But then I tapped into my engineer husband and I said, can you fix this so I can use it? And so he figured out a way. He's going to take this part off, put a brass screw in here, put something in here and connect the screw up this way so it can go on here. So I got to get this done before I get back to Washington. And that will be for my grandson to congratulate him on becoming a diver at 11 years old. That's pretty good.
Nice. You can brass cuts. You can like use a hacksaw and stuff and cut the brass too. If you want to reduce the size of those, you can. Very easily reduce them. So.
Yeah, and I was sad we didn't do that with this one, but since it's epoxied into the lid already, and I had used tropical walnut, it was the last piece I had. So unless I go buy more, and I asked if we could get it back out because it's a little bit long, can we get that out of there and I can cut it down? He said we probably could, but you might lose the top because it's epoxied in. So I said,
Sandy,
no, I
did
don't wanna
you
do
drill
that.
a hole all the way through on that lid?
I did not.
Okay,
So
thank you.
yeah, I did
Is
not.
it's just glued in there then? Is it epoxied or how'd you glue it in?
Well, it has some thread. I put it, it's not very thick. This is just a hair over a 1/4 inch, but I was able to get a couple of threads in there. So we used the thread jig and put a couple of threads. So we screwed it down with epoxy at the same time. Yeah. So
Gotcha. Okay.
and then
Okay.
once again, there's my little logo all painted up, looking better than the bowl. But anyway, it's fun. This was really fun. And like I said, I have a whole bowl of my drawer pulls, so I got to make a lot of bowls.
Sandy, what's the finish on your bowl?
Oh, I do. Typically I put, when I finish a piece, I normally use sanding sealer because that helps me with my finish. So you don't get that excess. This one sucks up a lot and this one's, floating
Right.
on the top. And mostly I use wipe on polish.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
that's just my go-to finish. I tried a lot. And as a matter of fact, I started writing. I got probably a 15-page list of people that I know and talk to. And I talk to them always about their finishes and what they use. And then I write it down and I'll say, as an example, this is Dane's, finish, tongue oil, and I do his process. And this is what he does along the way. And this is the finish and it's gorgeous and blah, blah, blah. And I've tried a lot of them, but this is just go-to for me.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. That's
It's
all
a
I
great looking
had.
finish. Great looking finish.
Yeah. Thank you. That's all I got, guys, and a bowl of drawer pulls.
We're through the list, Dane, so.
Yeah, I gathered
We're
that.
good.
There. Go ahead, Jeff.
Jeff
Hi,
has got
everybody.
something to show.
Yeah, last week we were talking about some different things and there was some mention about color. And a couple of us said we're not crazy about color on wood. And that doesn't mean I haven't dabbled in it. And I still dabble in it every once in a while. This is the first piece I did any kind of coloring on about 2.5, 3
Whoa.
years ago. It's a piece of English walnut, came from my late father-in-law's tree. And I just threw a shape on it, sanded it down, I put a couple coats of yellow on and then green. Black first, I'm sorry. Sanded it in between each one and then did about 3 coats of lacquer. And that's what I came up with black in the center. So it's kind of like that endless void in the inside, which I kind of like on vessels. So that's my experiment with colors.
It's
Have-
beautiful.
Good.
I like it. I'm experimenting right now, and I love it. It's a great little thing to dabble with for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
Really-
it's fun.
really is.
It's fun.
It is.
I've actually got one piece that I've had in my art fair shows, and it hasn't sold yet. It's a piece of wood that the tree was cut down in 1800 for a barn to be built, and the tree, the beam in the barn that I got had 60 rings on it. So the tree was at least 60 years old when they cut it down in 1800.
Right.
It's a piece of American beech.
Wow.
So,
Very
Yeah.
cool.
Piece of wood.
Very nice.
The coloring makes so much difference with a piece of wood. I mean, what I showed this evening, that was Bradford pear, and the coloring, matter of fact, actually in a way took away from the turning. You know, you could really dazzle some stuff, and I've learned that this week. I've had 6, 7 guys, you know, Billy and Doug and Dane and so many others. You know, don't forget this and watch out for that. You know, and it's really nice to make it look like what you have there in your hand. That's just it's just amazing how different finishes you can make a piece of wood.
Hey,
Yeah.
Jeff. Jeff, did you use dye, semi-transparent stain, or paint? What did you use on the outside?
this is actually apprentice alcohol dye I got from Craft Supplies.
Okay.
I got a big box of it now. A friend of mine and Matt's from our club that passed away a few years ago, his wife just gave me his whole box of artisan dyes.
Dyes are great to work with. I was going to
Well,
ask you.
I'm going to learn.
Have you ever heard of Carol Hall? She
No.
does a lot of embellishing, and I'll have to look it up, but she had a black paint that was truly infinitive. It really tricked your eyes. And I'll have to see if I can find the link that I had for her. But yeah.
When I do the insides black, this is basically I use an airbrush and I use black dye.
Yeah. Well, this
rather
was
than
this was like a matte infinity, and you didn't even know that it was painted black. It just looked like you were looking into nothing. Absolutely nothing. It was really crazy.
It's a great effect though.
Yes. Yes.
Especially if you can get your insides really nice. That's a great way to cover that all up.
What were you going to say?
I've put the names of 2 different very, very black paints into the chat. Vanta Black, and there's another one called Level 3. They're supposed to be some of the blackest ever invented. So if you really want to make the inside of your piece vanish, try those. I know that the Vanta Black is fairly expensive. And the Level 3 guys were guys who used to work with the Vanta Black guy, and he wouldn't tell them the formula, so they quit and formed their own company. So it's very, very black.
I've had a couple people suggest using India ink in my airbrush, which I haven't done yet. But
I've used that, and the Chestnut Spirit Stains works great too. The Chestnut Spirit Stain Black is very black. It's got a kind of a slightly purple cast to it in the right light, but it's really black for the insides of stuff too.
Ritz super black.
Yep, and you can put I know you can put the Chestnut Spirit Stains right into your airbrush and spray it. So, and I'm sure that if you do the RIT right, you could do it with the RIT too, right?
Yeah. Well, you probably use any dye so long as you clean it properly.
Yeah, but some of those are not, depending on your airbrush, some of those are not constituted thin enough to go through your airbrush.
Oh, okay.
So my next question to Brent, because he says he uses India ink, is Brent, do you spray that? Brent?
Yes, I've sprayed it in the airbrush. It's very, very
Do you
thin.
Yeah.
use it right from the bottle?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, cool. There's some good information then.
Anyway,
Cool.
your,
All right,
your little piece
go
that
back.
you did looks fantastic.
Indeed. Let's go back to Doug. He's got his little piece made, finished.
Nice.
Oh, very nice.
Beautiful.
So
Took care of the tenon.
undercut that just a hair. That was good, the intended foot, but I went ahead and undercut that, undercut the tenon, shortened it just a little bit and rounded it. So that gives you, and as you can see,
That's
the nut is
that's a
gone.
really sharp. That's a really sharp look, I think. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
it looks great.
There we go. Try to get it where you can see it the best. There you go. That's it.
That's nice.
That's
That's
kinda
nice,
neat.
Doug.
Yeah.
I love it.
But anyway, and
That's
that's all,
nice.
walnut oil. It'll get another couple of coats of it, just hand rubbed in. That's one of the things about walnut oil I like. I can just rub it in, softens my hands too. And it helps to get, super glue, CA glue off your fingertips if you get that, get it on there. Yeah,
That's a good tip.
between washing with hot water and lots of soap and then rubbing oils into your wood, it does. Those two fingers were brown, dark brown, coffee brown, because it was coffee grounds and CA that were
They're
on those
still
two
stained.
fingers yesterday. A little bit, not as bad as they were. They were all the way down to there, solid brown. It was terrible, but it's all good.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, it was a very enjoyable evening, Doug, for sure.
Thank
Do we
you.
have
I'll tell you what,
do we have anyone else for gallery? We got about
very excited.
we got about 10 minutes left. Anybody else for gallery?
Hey, Dane, if there's no gallery, I'd kind of like to make a couple of points about the carbide tips or carbide cutters. Hey, so I don't know, because it's been so long since I've been participating in these Wednesday meetings. I don't know how many people.
Shame on you.
How many people are seasoned on here anymore? But I know when I first got into wood turning, and I'm jumping on this forum on Facebook and that forum on Facebook and trying to learn as much as I could. And then you find the, I guess, hard traditionalists, if you want to call them that, that'll be like, you need to use high-speed tools, carbide cutters that don't even go there. You need to learn your high-speed tools first, or high-speed steel first. And it was Eddie Castlin that actually told me this. Because when I'd called him on the phone, before we ever started the whole Worldwide Wood Turners, and I was buying my carbide cutters from him. And he said, Doug, when your bowl is finished, when your phase is finished, whatever you've made, nobody knows what tool you made it with anyway. You use the tool that works for you. And he said, they're all good tools, whether you're using high-speed steel or carbide cutters. They're all good tools. Just learn how to use them. Learn the tool first, and then you'll make stuff. And that was some of the best advice he ever gave me. If I would have just listened to those people that I thought knew what they were doing, because they were on the internet, so they must know what they're talking about, right? I would have never gotten into the carbide cutters. And then somebody had asked during Doug's demo about the negative rake cutters. And I really, really like them. I like a regular high-speed negative rake scraper. And cutters essentially are scrapers. However, if you get them at the right angle, you can slice with them. It takes a little finessing, but you can get them to slice. They don't have to be just used as a scraper. But the negative rakes, I use them a lot whenever I'm doing resin turning, especially the stuff with the colored pencils that I do. And absolutely whenever I'm turning one of the bowling balls into a yarn bowl, straight to the negative rake carbide cutter. That has worked the best for me. Yeah. So I guess I'm just putting it out there that use whatever works for you. Don't let somebody talk you into saying one tool is better than the other. I really loved what Doug Miller said when he said, I use the tool that works for the job. I think that's the best advice you can give the new turner.
Exactly.
I agree.
Exactly.
Yep.
Don't be a tool bully.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no point.
They ain't use high-speed steel. Don't be a tool bully, though. Hey,
That's
I got carbide. I've got carbide. I use every now and then. I use them for in grain hollowing. They work marvelously.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they work real
I'm a
good on the
tool bully,
insides,
too.
insides of bowls or insides of bowls, the goblets too. You know, especially you got tight corners. They're, you know, those round carbides work great.
Yeah.
They really shine on that in grain hollowing.
Yeah,
They really do.
yeah, they do.
Yeah.
In grain hollowing, they're good for in grain hollowing. I won't speak to the rest of, and they're good for cutting metals, your brasses and your aluminums.
Yeah, your resins.
Far superior to using high speed steel. But
Hey, Doug Rowe,
that's about my
on
limitation.
behalf of everybody, I want to thank you for being dressed. And
Hey, you bet. I'm even wearing some nice Arizona colors for y'all.
Hey, love the jacket, man.
Go Zona.
Okay.
Zona.
And it really is good seeing y'all. I didn't have any papers to grade tonight or anything. I got home and ate some dinner,
wrestling
a
practice?
little bit of news, and then I told my wife, I'm going out to the shop. I got to go see the club.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you popped in. So
Yeah.
how's wrestling doing? You know, so
We're
with this,
almost
at
done.
top
Yeah.
of the hour, this would be the demarcation point for the official meeting. The after hours start now.